Certainly, Cordell Stewart stepped forward to become a playmaker in a big win last week at home against the Tennessee Oilers, and they're going to need him to be big this week as they go on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens at 3-2. And Pittsburgh has really struggled on the road. They haven't won a division road game since '95. The first team since the merger not to win a division road game and still win their division.
Yeah, and something they've done with Cordell, and he's going to have a big game in this particular game. But the coaching staff for the Steelers have done a good job in helping him with passing situations. They haven't really taken anything away from their offense. What they have done is they sit in a formation. That allows the secondary to sit in a formation, so he gets a good pre-snap read. Because when you run in motion, you have coverages that rotate. That confuses a quarterback. So if they sit in a formation, that allows him to get a good pre-snap read, and then allows him to make good decisions right off the bat.
Merle, I couldn't agree with you more, and Shane Gailey has done a nice job of putting Cordell in situations where he knows what the defense is going to be. That pre-snap look is there, then you don't run any motion. Now in your first, second, and third step, you confirm what the defense is going to be. And against this Baltimore defense, they're giving up 64% complete. So I think it's wise to take that pre-snap look and just focus in on it.
You know, Bill Cowher kind of added to this thing, not so much X and O, but some advice. He was watching a game where Seattle was playing, and they interviewed Warren Moon, and Warren Moon said, in all the offenses I've ever been to, when I came to Seattle, the first thing I want to know is where are my checkdowns. So he shared that with Cordell. He said, listen, this is one of the most prolific passers in NFL history, and the first thing he wants to know is where are his checkdowns. And I noticed the first few passes in that game, he was checking
He went
down.
to his second and third receiver. He went to the fullback, Timmy Lester. Yeah. But let's face it, this is a football team offensively anyways. It's built around their running back, Jerome Bettis.
Right. They got a great back. They have, I think, the best offensive line as far as run blocking goes. But it's the receivers of the Pittsburgh Steelers that really make this running game go.
If you're going to have a consistently good running game, your receivers must block. Here it's Charles Johnson and Yancey Thigpen. Johnson will go in motion, tight to the formation. The key here is they're not going to be blocking DBs, they're going to be blocking a defensive end and a linebacker. Johnson's responsibility is this defensive end, who probably outweighs him by 80 pounds. Yancey's assignment is the weak side linebacker, who probably has him outweighed by a good 40 to 50 pounds. These are the critical blocks if this play is to have any success at all. And what's real impressive is how they sustain these blocks. Blocking's not about knocking people out. It's about moving your feet and staying with it. This is what makes the Steelers' running game a tough matchup.
The Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, Marvin Lewis, would like to see the Steelers run the ball 40 times. He would also like to see the Steelers have 12 and 14 play drives because that gives his defense opportunities to make plays. And he also knows that his offense is going to put a lot of points on the board.
Two interesting matchups here. Tony Siragusa, who's really given the Ravens some size inside, is really nursing a bad ankle. If he's not in there, I don't think they can stop them from running the football. And watch the matchup between the rookie, Peter Boulware, the speed rusher, against John Jackson, the Steelers' left tackle. He has traditionally had problems with smaller, speedier guys.
And Mark, don't forget this matchup. Randy Fuller, one of the Steelers' cornerbacks, again, any of the three wide receivers from the Baltimore Ravens. I know Ted Marchibroda, when he came in on Wednesday morning and put up that scouting report, he put a big star by Randy Fuller because that's a guy that can be beat.
But I think a three wideout formation against this team, especially what I saw last week against the Tennessee Oilers, is a mistake because I think it shortens the corner. You put pressure on Testaverde. It's tough to throw the ball with people in your face.
Well, I totally disagree with you here, Mark. Here's a defense giving up 277 yards per game, 28th in the NFL. If I was Ted Marchibroda and Don Strock, I make him in with 4 wide receivers and attack that secondary.
That's why you're doing television and you're not coaching. And let's not forget that Bam Morris is going to be back in the lineup. He's a big, strong running back, so they might try to utilize him. Well, another AFC Central matchup will take place this Sunday when the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off their...
Spoke with the man they used to call Slash.
Cordell Stewart is in there as a wide receiver. Stewart in the slot left, Slash in motion from the outside left.
Look at Cordell.
Cordell Stewart is the quarterback.
It's Joe Slash.
When you came in last year, you're Slash, the quarterback. That quarterback, compared to the quarterback that's got to play now, has got to take all the snaps and be responsible for everything.
It's not the same. I mean, that's not even comparison. That's just like looking at a white wallpaper and then come back and looking at black wallpaper. The only thing is wallpaper. I mean, you have to understand situational things. You have to understand the snap counts. You have to understand the clock. You have to understand that you're basically the coach on the field. It wasn't like that last year.
Last year, you're in the playoffs. You're up in New England. You get a chance to be the quarterback. It's not a great experience for you. Go 0 for 10. What was your thoughts of Cordell Stewart, the quarterback, then?
I'm like, I really got out there and stunk up the place. You know, that's what I'm saying to myself. But then I thought about it later on down the road, and I said, well, I can't feel that way. Because, you know, I said, here's a guy who's basically out here playing receiver all year round for 2 years in a row. And then all of a sudden it comes to the last game of the season for me to come out and try to be the hero. And I said, for me to put that pressure on myself, I'll be cheating myself. I wouldn't be giving myself the opportunity. You know, I look at that as experience and say, well, hey, I was just a little puppy jumping out of hot water.
Yeah.
Great individual effort by the Slash Man.
Like to get a match, baby.
What a pass by Cordell. He showed me some cool.
You know, there's so much more responsibility on you now, but I think the main thing is the mental strain. Now being the starter, how's it feel?
Things are coming on me pretty fast. You know, you see this week you have man on the outside, the next week you have zone, and then next week you have cover 3, and then next week you have the P coverage. Before you know it, you have 10 different coverages within 4 or 5 games, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, I'm like, goodness, man, I'm like, what's going on?
You know, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just, it's hard, and you know, there's a lot of suffering involved.
It is.
And I guess for all the quarterbacks, we all want to see the young guys suffer.
But the good thing about it is that you go through growing pains, but once you feel you've gotten to that point where you've gone through the growing pains and you feel like you've pretty much seen everything possible, that's when the fun parts start coming in.
Stewart to the end zone. He's got it for a touchdown.
I think we are looking at the maturing of Cordell Stewart. He has really managed this game very well.
I always thought it was important for the quarterback to be the leader of the football team. Do you feel like you're progressing to the point, if you're not the leader already, that you will be soon?
Well, I feel that I'm the type of person that I lead by example. I don't like to go out and yell in the huddle. You know, I'm not asking these guys to follow me. I'm just basically going out and try to do my job. And I feel if I do my job and do it well enough, those guys are going to understand that Cordell Stewart wants to win.
You know, you can see the steady improvement in Cordell Stewart as a quarterback over the last couple of weeks, and you can't help but wonder in what shape Cordell and the Steelers might be in if he'd had the chance to develop those skills all last season.
You know, but you have to remember the Steelers were coming off of a Super Bowl year, and they had to try and develop a quarterback. They thought the guy was going to be Jim Miller. It was not. He fell on his face in Jacksonville in Week 1. So they went to the sure thing last year, Mike Tomczak. Had Cordell Stewart, though, had the entire year, you have to wonder exactly where he would be today. My guess is he would be much further along.
And you can't really blame the Steelers because they'd just been to the Super Bowl and they needed to plug in a quarterback. You'd rather plug in someone with experience than someone starting all over like Cordell Stewart.
And I think we're starting to see the real Cordell Stewart right now. The first 2 weeks he was bothered by that knee injury. The last 2 weeks, especially a week ago, he was sensational. The development has been very fast.
Okay, bulk of your coaching career has spent with quarterbacks. Sam, what do you see in Cordell?
Well, experience is a great teacher, especially at quarterback, because there's so much to learn, and he missed that. But you can watch Cordell play football right now, and you see little things that he's going to get better. Number one, when he comes away from center, the first thing a quarterback wants to do is look upfield and see the left third of the field. If he can see that, he can see all the field, sees that blitz coming a little bit earlier, reacts a little bit quicker. And when he scrambles, and he's a good one, keep the grip on the ball. I see him sometimes tuck that ball all the way under his arm rather than hold the grip on the ball so at the last minute you find that open receiver and you make the big play. He'll learn it. He's got a big upside.
All right, Coach, we'll be right back.
A beautiful Indian summer afternoon at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium for a key AFC Central Division clash as the Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Baltimore Ravens. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Baltimore. Tom Hammond and Jim Kelly, ready to see the Steelers with Cordell Stewart at quarterback. And, Jim, I think the last couple of games has really seen the maturing of Cordell as a quarterback.
Boy, it has. And if there's ever a good time to unleash Cordell Stewart, it's today, going against the 29th ranked pass defense in the Baltimore Ravens. And talking to Coach Bill Cowher, he's going to give him every opportunity to do that, especially on first and second down. As you see by his numbers, week by week, he's getting better. Last week, being named National Football League Player of the Week.
And I'm sure the Steelers, though, won't forget about Jerome Bettis, who has had some big games against Baltimore.
Well, he has, nicknamed the Bus. He has had success against them, especially the last 2 ball games, rushing for 221 yards last year. He knows it's going to be tough to get to the outside against a very strong and quick linebacker core in Boulware, Sharper, and Lewis. He knows that he's going to have to do all of his rushing inside the tackles.
And the Ravens can hurt you on offense, too, though. They have the third-rated pass attack in the NFL. And, of course, Vinny Testaverde's having a good season with a lot of weapons to unleash.
Boy, dude, he has tons of weapons, and it would spoil a quarterback. The one guy that's overlooked is running back Bam Morris. Everybody knows he's had his problems, but talking to his teammates, Tom, they're counting on him this time around.
And the former Steeler would like nothing better than to have a good game against his old team. We'll be back to Baltimore for the kickoff in just a moment.
Before you do this,
hoping to break a 5-game AFC Central road losing string. Cowers last year as a player 84 in Philadelphia. And who was the offensive coordinator on that Philadelphia Eagles team that year? It was Ted Marchibroda, who now guides the Baltimore Ravens, who are 3-2 on the season thus far. Baltimore has won the toss and will receive. Norm Johnson is set to kick it off for the Steelers. And the deepest man will be Jermaine Lewis for the Ravens, standing on the goal line, joined by Jay Graham, the up man.
I'll tell you what, Baltimore Ravens are going to see what they can do. They've been outscored in the first quarter. Really, the only quarter they've been outscored, 28-13. So I guess a good indication of how they're going to do is going to be showed right here in the first quarter.
Sellout crowd in Baltimore with a good contingent of Pittsburgh fans making the trip. And the game underway as Johnson boots it. Lewis settles under it at the 2. Here's Jermaine Lewis, very dangerous. Just to the 20-yard line. 19-yard return by Lewis. Tackled by Myron Bell. So Vinny Testaverde in the 3rd-ranked passing attack in the NFL. Big offensive line protecting Testaverde. With a new year, the center, the youngest member of that offensive line, figures to get a big test against Joel Steed today. Testaverde with Jackson, Alexander, and Lewis, that 3-wide receiver lineup with Bam Morris, 2nd game back from his league 4-game suspension. Eric Green, the former Steeler at tight end, has really come into his own this season in the early going. So first down for Testaverde in Baltimore. Testaverde on first down, going deep down the sideline. And overthrowing Michael Jackson. Steelers will line up this way on defense with Joel Steed at that nose guard, figuring to have that good battle with New Year. The center. Gilden, Kirkland, Holmes, and the great Greg Lloyd with over 50 sacks. Kirkland the leading tackler. That secondary, though, has been a problem. Chad Scott, the rookie from Maryland, will not start. He's injured, replaced by Randy Fuller. And the Steelers have the last-rated pass defense in the NFL. Greg Lloyd hopes to put some pressure on Testaverde today. Bam Morris with his first carry finds a big hole on the right side. Twisted down just short of the 30-yard line by Darren Perry.
That's what they're going to try to do today. Bam Morris, you're going to try to run him, get a little confidence back, because like I said in the opening, they're relying on a lot on Bam Morris, not only this game, but the rest of the season.
Had that great 7-game stretch after coming back from suspension last season. Only Barry Sanders was better over the last 7 games. And Morris telling us he thought he had his life straightened out now. It was just a matter of keeping his focus on football. And he has been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder, which they're factoring into the equation. On 3rd and 1, it is Bam Morris, and he has the first down, and he almost broke it loose. Just short of the 40-yard line, Darren Perry had him around the ankles, or Morris might have gone all the way for a touchdown.
See, good job right here, especially by the tight end right here, knocking him down, and Bam Morris getting to the outside. This is a run where you have to only get 1 or 1.5 yards, but again, Bam Morris hitting that hole very solid and getting up through there quick.
With Eric Green getting a block. So Morris off to a good start, as are the Ravens. First down. Spot the ball at the Baltimore 39. Testaverde's pass over the head of Michael Jackson. Looked like a mix-up between quarterback and receiver.
I think what Vinny did right there, I think it was just one of those passes that just slipped out of his hands. You see him wiping his hands off. Just a little bit over the head. And one thing coming into this game, you look at Vinny Testaverde and talking to him, they don't want to go pass happy because they understand and realize what type of zone blitzing that the Pittsburgh Steelers use. They're going to try to put pressure on him, but they're going to put pressure on him, dropping some guys off into coverage.
And as you saw, as goes Testaverde, so go the Ravens. 5 interceptions in their losses. Swing it to Bam Morris with a blocker in front. Morris, a hesitation, drives ahead for the first down. Into Pittsburgh territory to the 47-yard line. 13-yard gain, and Perry again forced to make the tackle.
Again, Bam Morris coming out of the backfield, and Vinny just decided not even to worry about anybody else. Just give him the football, let him go. It's almost like a quick screen right here with Jeff Blackshear coming out and kicking out and giving Bam Morris enough room to get up and get the first down.
We talked about Morris being diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. He was always hyper as a child. They thought he would grow out of it. But just now being diagnosed as that play is blown dead and the flags fly. There is a medication that you can take for that disorder, but as we get the call from Bill Carollo.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Leo Goaz guilty of the false start. But back to Bam Morris, there is medication that you can take for attention deficit disorder. And the problem is that under the league suspension and the rules now, he is tested twice a week for substances, and he has to get cleared from the NFL to take the medication for attention deficit disorder. So far has not been cleared to do that. They're compiling the documentation now to get that okayed by the league. Testaverde avoids the rush, whips it again over the head of his intended receiver, this time Derek Alexander. Testaverde does not look very sharp here early.
No, I don't think he really realized what depth the receiver was going to run at. It looked like he was more looking for a post move, and Alexander runs about 18 to 20 yards squaring. And Testaverde having to step up in the pocket, I think he might have thought he had to hurry the pass just a little bit that time.
Second and 15 to the 46.
So it's second down and 15. Again, he's off target on his pass. Wide open was Eric Green. Donnell Wolford giving him a lot of space. Green was wide open. Testaverde missed him again. Now 1 for 5.
And the Pittsburgh Steelers elected to just rush four guys, really dropping everybody back in coverage. Testaverde is having the time to throw, but just a little bit off targets thus far.
Bill Cowher telling us that one of the keys to the game for the Steeler defense was to disguise their coverages to confuse Testaverde. And it's interesting, it's a game within a game, because Testaverde said just the same, he must recognize what the coverage is and make the right call. So far, the Steelers appear to have confused him, and he's just been not on target. And here he is managing to avoid 3 separate tacklers, and then throws an interception to Carnell Lake. Carnell Lake picked it off and is stopped at the 42-yard line. Derek Alexander, after Testaverde, with an ill-advised throw, probably should have just thrown it away after he was lucky to escape a sack.
One thing he tried to do is throw across his body right there. He had pressure. He was able to get out of it. That shows the athletic ability of Vinny Testaverde. But one thing he did right there, he tried to force it. He wasn't able to put everything behind the ball. Yes, I think he did have Bam Morris for a second there, but what he did, he tried to force it, didn't lead him enough.
And there's Carnell Lake to step in and pick it off, then return it 13 yards. And the Steelers with the turnover in good field position. First down at the Raven 43-yard line. Cordell Stewart looking, and his receiver fell down. He had found the man, Yancey Thigpen, but Thigpen fell down just as the ball arrived. Here's the Pittsburgh starting offensive line, anchored by Dermontti Dawson at center, regarded by most as the best center in the National Football League. Cordell Stewart, as we documented, the NFL Player of the Week, improving by every game. Jerome Bettis averaging just under 5 yards a carry. Thigpen is the leading receiver.
And Cordell Stewart telling us yesterday at the beginning of the season, even early last year and late last year, he had a problem when he would drop back to pass. He would only really look to his first receiver instead of looking to his second and third primary receivers.
3 yards for Jerome Bettis to the 40, tackled there by Rob Burnett. And here is the front for the Baltimore Ravens. Larry Webster starting in place of the injured Tony Siragusa. Siragusa, the best run stopper for the Ravens, will play today, however. Boulware, Lewis, and Sharper, the 3 young linebackers, very active, very good, very quick. And the veteran Eugene Daniel starting in place of Donnie Brady today. Marvin Lewis, defensive coordinator of the Ravens, planning his defense on this 3rd and long.
Cordell Stewart saw something, he audibled out.
And Stewart throws an interception right into the hands of Eugene Daniel. And the veteran Daniel makes his 37th career interception on a gift from Cordell Stewart. Daniel was working on his house, finishing it in Baton Rouge after being released by the Indianapolis Colts. Called back to duty by the Ravens and has his 2nd interception of the season.
Solutions for a small planet. And by Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Just inland from Baltimore's Inner Harbor at Memorial Stadium, where Eugene Daniel has made an interception, his 2nd of the season, 37 in his career.
They're playing 2 deep zone, and all Eugene Daniel did right there, he's read Cordell Stewart, and that is probably the toughest defense to see. He tried to force it in, and one thing you don't want to do is throw a sideline pattern when you're in 2 deep zone, because all Eugene Daniel did was read Cordell Stewart's eyes.
And Eugene telling us that, yes, he's lost a step. This is his 14th season, but he makes up for it with heady play, as we saw. A perfect example right there.
And it's his 200th game today, too, Tom.
200th game, right?
Wow.
Only appropriate that he should pick one off.
That's for sure.
First down, Testaverde on target this time. Reception made by Derek Alexander. It goes for 12 yards and a first down. Darren Perry makes the tackle.
And both teams going to the air realizing that both pass defenses are ranked 28th and 29th in the National Football League, so they know what they're going after today.
As you see the other scores, early starting games in the NFL. Dallas up on the Giants. First down, Testaverde back to pass again. Across the middle, complete. Inside the 40, down to the 36-yard line. Once again, it's Derek Alexander. Wolford and Perry finally get him down, but a 20-yard gain, and Testaverde now seems to have found his rhythm.
And one thing about Testaverde is he's able to step. He doesn't do much stepping up into this, but he shows the strength of his arm, being able to throw a 20-yard squaring pattern like that.
2 teams trade turnovers. Now the Ravens are on the move. Bam Morris twisting his way only for a couple of yards to the 35 and thrown back by the center of the Pittsburgh defense.
He's tackled by Greg Lloyd.
Taking time, getting up around, but Vinny Testaverde telling us yesterday that you might see some no-huddle offense today. Very appropriate, something that I can associate with right here. I like this.
Pittsburgh defense has been very good early, as you saw the graphic. Was that a catch or not? No. Jackson could not grab it before it hit the turf. Defended by Randy Fuller. As the Ravens show us the no-huddle, the specialty of Ted Marchibroda. And the Steelers were ready for it. They practiced for it all week.
He elected to go to Alexander there, but Jermaine Lewis right there against a nickel defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, wide open down the middle. But again, it's hard to see with that many weapons. Who should I throw the ball to?
Nice problem to have. 3rd and 9. Testaverde steps up. He's got his man, Lewis. Jermaine Lewis has a Raven first down. Carnell Lake and Darren Perry stop him, but not until he had a 13-yard reception. And again, the Ravens moving through the air.
One thing Vinny realizes in this game, he's going to have to step up in the pocket. He realizes the speed of guys coming from the outside, Greg Lloyd. So thus far, they have beaten him around the corner, but Vinny's doing an excellent job stepping up in the pocket.
3 for 4 on this drive after sputtering in the first possession and throwing an interception. That one thrown away. Alexander closest to it. Wolford and Perry were close to him, and Testaverde missed that one after he'd been so sharp on this drive.
One thing I talked about, him being able to step up in the pocket. When you do that, the key to that is, yeah, you always talk about the 2 outside tackles, getting those guys to push them around the quarterback. The key is Quentin Newyer being able to keep his guy in front of him, not letting the pressure get back up the middle.
No huddle again for the Ravens at 2nd and 10. Caught by Green. Eric Green hurdling his way to the touchdown. The former Steeler hurts his old team. Green saying, oh, that's in the past, but I'm not sure. You saw him wagging that finger. I think this one is especially sweet for Eric Green. His second touchdown reception of the season.
Knee problem? I didn't see no knee problem there, being able to hurdle a guy like that. What a move, what a play.
And his left knee scoped in November of last year, and he did his Edwin Moses impersonation into the end zone. Stover with the extra point. It's good. So the Ravens, after throwing an interception their first possession, go 67 yards for the first score of the game.
Well, you see Eric Green right here on your screen. Vinny Testaverde coming back. He reads, he sees that he's one-on-one with an outside linebacker. He knew Eric Green could do this. And all of a sudden, Donnell Wolford puts his head down. Eric Green shows no problems with the knee with right there another hurdle. And when you have a tight end like that with that type of athletic ability and as big as Eric Green is, hey, get him in the football as much as possible, especially when he's going against an outside linebacker that really can't cover a speed receiver or a speed tight end like Eric Green.
His years with the Steelers got him twice to the Pro Bowl and went on to Miami, his second season in Baltimore. And Stover, who with the extra point took over the NFL scoring lead. Well, maybe not. Cunningham kicked a field goal, I think, for Dallas, but he came in tied for the lead and now kicks off. Blackwell and Adams are the deep men. It is Blackwell. And Blackwell, who had a 52-yard kickoff return against Jacksonville, stopped there by Benny Thompson. Follow the NFL season online at NBCSports.com. This week, hear from a lot of the special teams coaches in the NFL as they explain the art of special teams. Plus, vote in our poll, which asks who's the league's standout rookie. All at NBCSports.com. And Benny Thompson, who made that good special teams tackle, has the Steelers back at their own 19-yard line. So Testaverde throws an interception, comes down and leads a touchdown drive. Cordell Stewart now tries to answer after he had the turnover. Jerome Bettis bouncing to the outside, then cutting upfield. Maybe a 4-yard gain.
Jamie Sharper with the first hit. Assist on the play to Michael Craig.
Well, they depend, of course, on the bus, Jerome Bettis, and in fact, they're the only team in the league that has rushed more than they have passed. 597 yards rushing, 577 through the air, but with the maturation of Cordell Stewart, I have a feeling that's going to start to turn around a bit too.
That's for sure. I don't think I've ever seen a stat like that where there's more rushing yards going to this part of the season than passing yards.
Jerome Bettis finds the going tough again, only to the 25-yard line. It'll bring up a third down for the Steelers.
And Jerome Bettis, he told us yesterday, Tom, that he thought it was going to be hard to get outside because of the speed of those three linebackers, probably the fastest trio of linebackers in the National Football League. And he said, if we're going to be successful today, it's going to have to be from tackle to tackle, run right at them.
3rd and 5 for the Steelers. George Jones in the backfield with Stewart. 4 wide receivers. And the pass caught by Hawkins. Courtney Hawkins spun out of bounds at about the 32-yard line. It's an 8-yard gain and enough for a Pittsburgh first down.
That's an excellent route by Hawkins because when Cordell Stewart dropped back, he read the coverage. He saw them as man-to-man on the outside. Hawkins breaks to the outside, knowing that the outside receiver is taking the defensive back out of the play. So excellent read by Cordell Stewart there.
Interesting, in talking to Stewart, one of the things that came up was all his duty as a wide receiver, as his slash days when he was Mr. Versatile, enables him to get the whole picture. He knows what receivers should do now, and it really has helped him grasp the whole concept. Flags down as the pass is complete to Thigpen. He would have a first down if it stands, where he's tackled by Ray Lewis, but Bill Carollo will tell us about the penalty. Ravens indicate it's against Pittsburgh.
$12 men, illegal participation on the offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So 12 men on the field. No wonder they were able to complete a first down.
You usually see that happen against defense, but you know, offensive players, you can't. See if we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 guys right there. 12 guys on the field now.
Very nice. And
yeah, if you can get away with it, I guess that would be good. But
I was impressed by you went to Miami too. I was impressed with that counting.
Wow. Woo.
First and 15.
We got a lot of game left, Tom.
Tim Lester, Jerome Bettis, high formation. Bettis, the tailback, is the motion man is Johnson. Here's Bettis. Met at the line of scrimmage by Ray Lewis, and the middle linebacker of the Ravens drives the bus in reverse.
And, you know, even talking to Bettis, he knew that they were going to have to go straight at him, but so far, they know they can't go around him. They're going to try to go straight at him, but so far, it's been all Ravens being able to stuff him up and make sure that they don't get any yards. And one thing with a guy like Jerome Bettis, you have to be able to, once you get through the line of scrimmage, make your cut. He's not the type of back, he's not fast enough to be able to make his cut 2 or 3 yards in the backfield.
Lewis, the #1 tackler for the Ravens in his rookie season a year ago, and leading them again this season. Stewart, across the middle, picked off again. Stevan Moore with a blocker in front. Moore gets by Stewart. He's to the 5 and out of bounds. Will Wolford able to stop the touchdown as Stevan Moore picked it off and brought it back 39 yards. Stevan Moore in his 70th straight start with the interception.
Stevan Moore is just playing center field. He sits spot. What he does, all he does is baits Cordell Stewart. He's looking. He knows exactly what's coming on. He just waits for him to throw the football and steps in front. And that was experience right there. Stevan Moore has shown why he's been in the National Football League for 9 years. And Cordell Stewart, he will learn.
His 3rd this season, and for Cordell Stewart, his 2nd interception of the game. It's 1st and goal, Baltimore at the Pittsburgh 5-yard line.
And at times, what Cordell is going to have to learn to do is look defensive backs off, especially safeties. All they do is cover the middle of the field. They wait for you to throw the football, and at times, like there, they bait you.
Testaverde, Lewis couldn't get it, hadn't turned around in time. He did have some space on Carnell Lake. If the ball had been to his outside, but he didn't come out of his break in time.
I don't think he was really ready for the football. And if that play is designed, and I've seen it 100 times, I think Jermaine Lewis, what he should have done is really took a more of an angle towards the end zone and try to get a little separation between him and Carnell Lake.
2nd and goal. Morris shakes one man and is stopped just short of the goal line.
We talked about the Steelers being able to stay in between the tackles. That's what Bam Morris and Ravens are doing. Just trying to bust up inside. They know he's only got probably 3 or 4 yards to go, but they're inside the 1 right now.
Nolan Harrison saved the touchdown.
3rd and goal with the ball.
They've only allowed 1 rushing touchdown all season. Just inside the 1, 3rd and goal. Morris, the tailback in the eye. Here's Bam. Touchdown.
Takes a little sweetness right here. Eric Green and Bam Morris, both former Pittsburgh Steelers, scoring the first 2 touchdowns. How appropriate.
And doubling the number of touchdowns Pittsburgh has surrendered in the first quarter all season. Now Stover to add the extra point. Greg Montgomery is the holder. And the extra point is good. Bam Morris with his first touchdown of the season, only the 2nd surrendered by Pittsburgh on the ground all year. 2 Pittsburgh interceptions, 2 Baltimore touchdowns. 5 less in the first. Stevan Moore, number 27, with the interception, and Bam Morris converting it into a touchdown, as Eric Green had done on Eugene Daniels' interception earlier. 2 interceptions, 2 Baltimore touchdowns. That's being productive in converting turnovers, as Cordell Stewart has struggled for Bill Cowher so far. Baltimore has outgained Pittsburgh 102 yards to 14.
So much for the Ravens not scoring in the first quarter. Now it's 28-27 as far as scoring by the opponents to the Ravens. They're improving.
Blackwell and Adams. This is Adams. Knocked down at the 24-yard line after a 17-yard return by Benny Thompson again.
And Benny Thompson right there, Tom, got his helmet knocked off way before the play, and boom, he goes there and puts his head in there anyway with no helmet. That's a heck of a play.
And speaking of great plays, as we see Benny again with
you see him get his helmet knocked off. Watch him put his head there. He doesn't care. Boom! That hard head.
Steelers now down 14 with a first down at their own 24. Bettis got a block, breaks free, and just tripped up. 12-yard gain. Rondell Jones got a hand on the rear axle of the bus, or he was gone.
Very patient. They're designed to go up inside the tackle and inside the end, as you see Boulware right there, almost breaking it. I don't know if he'd have the speed to run 60 more yards, but he was very patient. That's why that play worked.
Steeler first down, advance the ball to the 36. Johnson in motion. Pettis fighting his way to the 41 before he's knocked down by Rob Burnett.
Assist on the play to Stephon Moore. Getting 5 on the play.
Last 3 games, Baltimore allowing 121, 97, and 88 yards, progressively better.
Second and 5.
And only 26. Ted Marchibroda's defense, limiting Bettis, who has been the only ball carrier for the Steelers, to 26. Cordell Stewart's pass, good, to midfield. Pretty nice catch by Yancey Thigpen. Tackled by Ray Lewis. Another Steeler first down.
That's one thing that I think the Steelers need to do right now, is just give Cordell Stewart the quick passes, get some confidence back in. After you throw 2 interceptions, might rattle your mind just a little bit. So good job by Bill Cowher enabling Cordell Stewart to take those 5, 6, 7 yard gains, get some confidence back in.
One thing Cordell has is patience, biding his time as Slash, waiting for his opportunity at quarterback. So that carries over into a game as well. Bettis got a block from Lester and is out of bounds at the 45-yard line of the Ravens, chased out by Rondell Jones. But Tim Lester, as Bettis says, he and Lester are always on the same page. They read each other so well, and here's a good example.
Thomas Linsky coming around here. Also, he's got a good lead by Lester. The thing is, that play probably was designed to go up inside the end, but again, he's able to bounce it outside, and I think the Baltimore Ravens might have tried to figure that the Steelers are going to try to do that, but again, Jerome Bettis finding a way to get outside and get 5 yards.
There's Lester. He's been the guest of Bettis at the Pro Bowl. And Jerome saying they talk so much, but they're always on the same page. Here they are again. Lester leading with a block. Bettis cuts up, first down, 35-yard line of the Ravens.
When you got guys like a Will Wolford, a guy who weighs probably 310, 315 pounds, and Lester leading around or going against smaller linebackers, this is what they're going to try to do, at least this series, try to get the counters, try to get those traps around the outside, and they're designed mostly to come up inside and cut off the linebackers. But right there, Jerome Bettis being able to get outside, being led by Lester, and an excellent block by Will Wolford.
Steelers have a pretty good drive going. First down, 36 of the Ravens. Just over a minute and a half left in the opening quarter. 14-0 Baltimore. Jerome Bettis nowhere that time. Met in the backfield and dropped at the line of scrimmage. Ray Lewis, Michael McCrary, ready for Jerome that time. Might have lost a half yard.
best way to help Cordell Stewart is to have a good running game. And last couple plays not bad, but they're being stuffed up the middle. And so far, what they've been trying to do is go up the middle. And it's almost like what they thought that they had problems with was going to the outside, but they've been very successful to the outside thus far.
Pettis out of the game, replaced by George Jones. 2nd and 10. Stewart's pass caught by Thigpen. Boy, he made a nice catch. It looked like it was going to be too wide, and he caught it at about took it to about the 19 before Rondell Jones stops him. That was a sparkling catch by Thigpen.
It was, and lucky for Cordell Stewart right here. But one thing that he told us that he likes when the receivers come back, he said, if anything I learned by being a wide receiver and coming back playing quarterback, I tell my receivers, come back to the football.
First and 10 at the 18.
And a good example of it there is Thigpen went down to one knee, but not down by contact, able to get it inside the 20. First down, Pittsburgh. That'll be a 5-yard penalty on the Steelers as Justin Strelzik went back into his pass blocking mode before the snap.
False start, number 73, offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Now 1st and 15 for the Steelers with 24 seconds left in the opening quarter. A quarter that has seen 2 Pittsburgh interceptions lead to 2 Baltimore touchdowns.
Once the Pittsburgh Steelers start moving into that red area inside the 20-yard line, this is where Cordell Stewart is very, very dangerous running the football.
Delayed handoff. George Jones. And the rookie pounding his way back to about the 18 or 19-yard line, where he's hit by Antonio Langham and Rob Burnett. That'll be the last play of the first quarter. It ends with the Ravens leading the Steelers by a count of 14-0. Counseling patience all the time, and Cordell buying into that. And he said the important thing when Cordell was playing wide receiver and coming in at quarterback sometimes in the red zone, the important thing for Cordell was to play, to experience what it was like to get ready to play and to experience some success. And all that patience and all that contributing in other ways to the team now starting to pay off as Cordell, after a rocky start in this game, has a good drive going.
Yeah, Cordell knows coming in, and even last year, coming out of the season last year, it didn't really matter, like you stated. He had experience. He had playing time. He didn't like standing on the sidelines. It didn't matter if he was not going to play a quarterback. He wanted to be on the field. He wanted to, in some way, contribute to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Bill Cowher saying, just be patient, patient. Your time will come. Well, his time's here now, and this drive, at least, he's getting better.
Cowher saying he thought Cordell had a chance to be something special. 2nd and 11. Quick pass, and Lester was not ready for it. He had Boulware matched up on Lester, but Cordell threw it a little quickly, I think.
Yeah, I think he thought that by the time the football got out there, that Lester's head would have been turned around. But again, when you're a quarterback and you're dropping back, you know on your 3rd or 5th step, when you're ready to deliver the ball, the receivers should be looking.
Pittsburgh inside the red zone is usually pretty productive. 2nd in the NFL, 75% touchdowns. 9 of them in 12 attempts. 10th play of the Pittsburgh drive. It's 3rd and 11. Intercepted. Picked off by Eugene Daniel, and Daniel has blockers in front. Daniel down the sideline, punt from behind by Will Blackwell, the speedster, at the 40-yard line. 2nd interception of the day for Eugene Daniel. Let go by the Colts. Welcome back to the NFL, Eugene Daniel. In his 200th career game, has 2 first-half interceptions.
One thing Cordell Stewart should have done on this, he knows by a pre-snap read that he only had 3 guys rushing. When you see 3 guys rushing, you know you have to be poised in the pocket, take your time, because there's 8 guys defending against only 4 receivers in the pattern. So this is one thing, mistake by a young player like Cordell Stewart here. You're going to learn from your mistakes, but boy, 3 interceptions the first part of the game, that's tough.
And Cordell trying to explain to his coach what happened. And so far, Cowher is looking fairly patient. The 3 interceptions is a team record for Baltimore in the second year of operation. Those records from the Cleveland Browns did not carry over, so that is a record. Testaverde stands in the pocket, down the sideline for Alexander. A flag comes in, working against Wolford, and the penalty marker down.
Remember, you cannot bump once you're past a 5-yard plane, and I think a little bit too far down the field.
Illegal contact, number 21 defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And now, Wolfie, you just got to remember, I just talked about you cannot bump a receiver, but one thing he sees right here, he knows that if he lets him go, this might be a big play. Probably should have caught the football anyways, right off the fingertips, but again, you cannot bump once you're past a 5-yard plane.
Wolford, who came over from the Bears as a free agent, former Pro Bowler. Here's Bam Morris, can't get the corner, knocked out of bounds by Levon Kirkland. Let's go to New York, where Greg Gumbel has an update for us. Greg?
All right, Tom, they're in the second quarter now. The Miami Dolphins are on top of the Kansas City Chiefs thanks to this run up the middle by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 10 yards. And with the extra point, Miami leads the Chiefs 7-0, as we said, second quarter, Tom.
Greg, 14-0 here. What did you think about all that talk about perhaps Dan Marino being cut, Jim?
Exactly what you just said, all talk.
Catch made by Michael Jackson. He's close to a first down, knocked out of bounds by Randy Fuller, right at the sticks.
Dan Marino without the Miami Dolphins, no way. That'd be like somebody cutting John Elway in the middle, as far as halfway through the season if he was struggling a little bit. And I can't see Dan Marino playing with anybody but the Miami Dolphins.
And Will McDonough saying earlier today that having talked to Jimmy Johnson this morning, that was absolutely not going to happen. Testaverde sneaking for a first down on 3rd and about a foot has the Baltimore first down. They've already converted 2 Pittsburgh interceptions into touchdowns, trying to do the same on Cordell Stewart's 3rd interception of the first half.
And again, they're going to the no-huddle offense. They were successful last time, and I think Ted Marchibroda might have a comfort zone here now with Vinny Testaverde being able to run the no-huddle offense.
Jim Haslett, the Pittsburgh defensive coordinator, trying to stop the Ravens this time. Testaverde, plenty of time. And again, the receiver, Jermaine Lewis, lost his footing, was a little off balance as he made the try and couldn't catch up. There's a penalty marker on the play, and it's against Baltimore.
Arnell Nick had the coverage for Pittsburgh.
Holding, number 77, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Big 6'7", 350-pound Orlando Brown. You wouldn't think a man that big would need to hold, would you?
Wow, just get in the way of somebody. You don't have to hold, but boy, that was the type of lineman you want around you, though. Big guys like that. And I think the average offense, this line averages 317 pounds.
Orlando Brown, Zeus, nicknamed by his mom before he was born. Bam Morris, he shows a little hurdle himself, and he is to the 23-yard line, tripped up by Darren Perry. Did they take some time at the track this week of working on hurdling?
That's for sure.
Eric Green hurdled his way to a touchdown, and Morris shows us his form here.
Easiest way to get a completion and a lot of yards. Just dump it off to the running back. And again, having linemen out there able to move and get out there and cut back on some of those linebackers, maybe Van Morris will get to the outside.
Blackshear had a block. Testaverde, wide open, touchdown, Kinchin. Brian Kinchin, the tight end, first touchdown catch of the season, beating Jason Gilden, the linebacker. And once again, the Ravens very productive off the turnover. 3 Cordell Stewart interceptions, 3 Baltimore touchdowns. Matt Stover to attempt the extra point. And it's good. Vinny Testaverde has thrown 2 touchdown passes in the first half. It's been a case of turnovers, turnovers, turnovers.
vehicles from Mitsubishi, built for living by the U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest army in the world. Be all you can be. By Microsoft, where do you want to go today? And by Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are hey, beer, nah.
Venerable Memorial Stadium in Baltimore and venerable Eugene Daniel. 14th season in the NFL. He has 2 interceptions. Vinny Testaverde has 2 touchdown passes. Baltimore is up 21-0 thanks to Pittsburgh turnovers. Stover's kickoff will go out of the end zone. Everybody's pumped up now.
Take a look at the touchdown right here. Brian Kitchen, what he does, he comes off the line, and Vinny Testaverde realized what type of defense. Man-to-man coverage, Kitchen a little out and up move. Again, known that it's a mismatch with Gilden covering Kitchen. Ouch.
3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns. What does Cordell Stewart now say in the huddle to his team?
I'm sorry, guys. I mean, what can you say? He just has to get the respect, and I guess they have to really have confidence coming in. He has to forget about it. I know it's tough to do that. I remember the game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I threw 3 interceptions the first 3 drives of the game, but I came back and threw 5 touchdowns. He has to keep his poise.
And Stewart, first down pass. Charles Johnson does come back for the football. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. Langham and Stevan Moore covering him.
It almost looked like there Cordell Stewart holding back a little on that throw, almost like too relaxed in the pocket. What he has to do is get back here, read the coverage, step and throw the football. Don't try to aim it, just throw it out.
Down 21-0. Do they have to abandon the run now?
You can't. You can't put all the pressure on Cordell Stewart. Mix it up a little. Bill Cowher told us they was going to throw more on first and second down.
Here's Bettis, and Jerome Bettis has a first down.
How about Bettis telling us yesterday that he realized that with the inexperience of Cordell Stewart, he realized that a lot of pressure is on him to produce and take some of the heat off of Cordell Stewart. Being down 21-0, I don't know. When you're down that much, and your running back has to have all the pressure on him, well, that's a far and a long way to come back.
Jerome also saying, though, that he was used to that pressure. He felt it when he was at Notre Dame. And he felt it with the Rams when he was basically all their offense early in his career. Stewart swings it complete to Lester. Tim Lester. Only got about 2 yards out of bounds at the 35, knocked out by Jamie Sharper, the rookie linebacker from Virginia.
One thing that surprised me, Tom, is Cordell's having problems reading coverages, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are running a lot of motion today. When you run a lot of motion, it enables the defense to make some adjustments. Corners coming in, safeties coming up. So it surprised me that they're not going with your typical formation, staying set.
Stewart got away from the rush. Incomplete, intended for Bettis. It'll be 3rd and long.
Right there, Cordell Stewart had Johnson. He looked at him very, very quickly, and he came off him. I don't know why. He had 1-on-1 on the outside. I think he's starting to get a little hesitant. He's second-guessing himself. What he should do is go through his 5-step drop, throw in rhythm. Right there, he had Johnson on the outside. But again, when you look out there and you have Eugene Daniel, it's already picked off 2 against you. You might be a little hesitant at going after him.
I understand. 6 defensive backs on for the Ravens. 4 wides for the Steelers. Cordell from the gun. And under the gun. Sacked. Michael McCrary with the sack.
McCrary putting pressure on. And one thing what they have to do, they have to realize that Cordell Stewart is a good, as far as a runner to the outside. McCrary just comes in. He didn't care anything about that. He just wanted to beat his guy and get to Cordell Stewart. 9 out of 10 times, Stewart can't get out of that, but not that time.
Now 3.5 sacks on the season for McCrary, who came over from the Seahawks in the offseason. And the punt by Josh Miller. Jermaine Lewis fields it at the 21. Lewis looks for a block, got one. Down the sideline. And finally caught from behind after a good return at about the 44-yard line. 36-yard return of a 51-yard punt. Dante Jones of the Steelers able to chase him down. Otherwise, Lewis might have gone for the touchdown. It's 21-zip.
Are you for
4 left till halftime. It's 21-0 Baltimore, and the Ravens, good field position again. They have averaged getting the ball in the Pittsburgh 48. Thanks to the 3 interceptions, and here, thanks to a good punt return by Jermaine Lewis. Testaverde chased from the pocket, found a man. It's Eric Green, and he has 5 or 6 yards. LaVon Kirkland hit him.
Right there was good indication. You look at Testaverde and what the Pittsburgh Steelers defense was doing. They were making adjustments. They weren't giving him one look. Testaverde audible to a play there, but again, the Steelers being able to come out of it and go in zone coverage.
Van Morris hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss. See where they mark his forward progress. Oliver Gibson was all over Bam Morris as soon as he got the football.
Almost looks like a busted play. When somebody comes free like this, almost looks like somebody forgot to block somebody. Exactly what happened. I'm sure Bam Morris should have had more running room than that, but now the Baltimore Ravens right now is continuing to go with the no-huddle offense. 3rd down and 10.
You see Greg Lloyd try to take a shot at his former teammate while Gibson had him wrapped up. 3rd and long. Testaverde whips it. Caught by Lewis, but he's spun down by Carnell Lake, well short of 1st down yardage. And Baltimore will have to punt for the first time in the game.
Well, Carnell Lake knew that if he was able to catch the football in front of him, he said, go ahead, complete this pass. Let him catch it and tackle him. He knew it was going to be 4th down. I don't know if I'd do too many of those with a guy like Jermaine Lewis with the football, because he has the potential of breaking a big one.
Absolutely. There are the numbers this season on Montgomery. Courtney Hawkins awaiting the punt.
A little different personality with Montgomery. An earring on his tongue. I didn't know that.
Wait a minute. How could it be an earring on his tongue?
Well, I guess you call it a tongue ring there. I didn't know they allow things like that in the National Football League.
Do you think he takes it out for the game?
No.
34-yard punt down by the Ravens inside the Steeler 5. Everything going right for Baltimore today. The people in Pittsburgh, of course, are familiar with a terrible towel. Well, here's something new for Baltimore. The Raven rag. Stephanie Morris, Bam Morris's wife, made these, and Bam handing them out to all his teammates.
Well, I remember back in East Brady having the terrible towel. I got so tired of hearing that once I became a Buffalo Bill, of course.
Growing up a Steeler fan in East Brady was Jim Kelly, as Jerome Bettis fights his way to about the 8 or 9 yard line.
And now I don't know what they're doing today. They're probably cringing in their seats being down 21-0, because now that they don't have anybody to cheer for in Buffalo, now they got to go back to their old team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, it's been a long first half for Bill Cowher. 3 interceptions, 3 Baltimore touchdowns, and now backed up again with a 2nd down play. Stewart, quick drop, quick strike. Ray Lewis immediately wrapping up Mark Bruner. Let's go back to Greg Gumbel for another update. Greg?
All right, Dan, in Miami, the Chiefs have jumped ahead of the Dolphins. This is Elvis Gerbach to their 1st-round draft pick, Tony Gonzalez, 21 yards and a touchdown. The Chiefs add the extra point, and it's a 14-7 lead, 5:40 to play in the 2nd quarter. Tom Hammond, back to you.
Thanks, Greg. I know they all tend to run together when you're in there doing updates all afternoon. Cordell Stewart on 3rd down, only 1 of 4, and 2 of his 3 interceptions have come on 3rd down plays.
That's one thing they want to stay with, having to throw on 3rd down all the time.
Flag down as Stewart, only needing a yard, is able to sneak for 1st down yardage. Let's see.
Right in the snap.
Nope.
Full start. Number 87, Hawkins. 5-yard penalty. Lays 3rd down.
False start by Mark Bruner cost the Steelers a 1st down. Now it'll be 3rd down and 6.
I like what Bill Cowher did last play. Cordell Stewart dropping back, probably telling him, look for your tight end. I know when I would be in a slump or I'd start throwing interceptions, one of the things I used to do was throw to Pete Metzlars a lot of times. 6'7", a big tight end, because he's usually the guy that's right in front of you. It's not hard to read what a tight end's doing.
Stewart's in the shotgun, 3 wides to the bottom of the screen. Across the middle, broken up, intended for Will Blackwell. Good coverage by Deron Jenkins of the Ravens. And Pittsburgh must punt from deep in its own territory. They've only punted once before because of the interceptions, but it was a good one, 51 yards.
Cordell Stewart has the time to throw. He really couldn't step up and throw this, but this ball right here should have been caught. He put it where only the receiver could catch the football.
So Josh Miller, now remember Jermaine Lewis had an excellent return the last time. There is Lewis. Nice punt. Lewis has to go back for it, then it takes a good Baltimore bounce and is out of bounds at about the 29-yard line. Coming up next, most of these NBC stations, Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Most of you will see the Chargers battle the Raiders. Some will see the Oilers take on the Seahawks or the Jets and the Colts. Check your local listings for the game in your area. That's Game 2 of the doubleheader coming up next on most of these stations.
Did you notice how Norm Johnson kicked that football to one side or the other? This is something that the Buffalo Bills with Chris Moore, and I know a lot of teams in the National Football League are doing now. They're trying to punt away, making sure that if they're going to get somebody backed up, they're going to do that.
Josh Miller, that punt covered 63 yards. 63-yard punt. Pittsburgh needed a big play. Testaverde airs it out for Michael Jackson. He's got it, then knocked loose, incomplete. Randy Fuller covering Michael Jackson. Had it for a moment, and as he hit the ground, it came free.
Well, when you talk about Norm Johnson, Josh Miller, kickers are the same. That's how most quarterbacks and most linemen look at it. But there, Testaverde just says, I'm going to go for it for the deep one. And when you throw a ball like this, Jackson does the excellent thing. He goes up for the football. He doesn't wait for the ball to come down, but it's a good defensive play right there and trying to knock the ball loose.
Intended for Eric Green. That pass off target. Levon Kirkland applauding the fact that there was no flag as Eric Green was lobbying for one. You see the other scores going by with Green Bay trying to hand Tampa Bay their first defeat of the season. Third and 10, Testaverde. Stepping up, fumbles the football. Pittsburgh has it. Recovered by Joel Steed as the Ravens turn it over.
Well, Ravens not being conservative right there. I mean, you think at times they would try to run the football a little bit, try to take some time off the clock, but again, it's early in the football game. And Vinny, he has a lot of confidence in his own ability to be able to run and scramble. He's got to realize if he sees a guy coming, put the ball away, because this is what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to try to do, try to strip the quarterback. They need turnovers like this.
Chris Oldham stripped the football, and Joel Steed recovered it. And now Cowher saying, let's go. Let's take advantage of a turnover the other way. There's Oldham, who knocked the ball free.
And if there's any coach who can get his team fired up, it's Bill Cowher.
Jerome Bettis, Lester leads the interference. Bettis, the bus rambles inside the 15-yard line. Stephon Moore took on Bettis, able to get the big guy out of bounds. 14-yard gain. First down, Steelers who get a spark. Good punt, turnover, and now they want to get the touchdown.
And Jerome Bettis being able to follow his block, and what they're doing now, I think they realize that they're going to have to try to go to the outside. They're going up in between the tackles is not working for them today. And this is a big challenge for the Ravens defense right now. If they can hold them to a field goal, they've done their job.
Lester with another good block, a kick out that enabled Bettis to get upfield. Here they are again. Bettis hit him immediately when he had the football, and then Jamie Sharper puts him down for good. First to arrive on the scene was Rob Burnett. Everything's purple here in Baltimore.
I was like, is this the wrong team? Different uniforms, different game. But no, Sharper, they're all three, Sharper, Lewis, and Boulware, are starting to really find their groove as far as playing amongst each other. They're enjoying themselves. They hang out together now. So this is a Ravens defense that gets better and better each week.
Second and long, George replacing George Jones replacing Bettis as Cordell Stewart tries to scramble. And he's tripped up at the 18 by Peter Boulware. It'll be third down for the Steelers.
If Cordell Stewart's going to get some rushing yards out of the gun formation, it's going to be tough today because when you have linebackers can run that fast, they're able to run a quarterback down like Cordell Stewart. He might have to be a little bit more patient in the pocket. And like I said earlier, Tom, when they only have 3 or 4 guys rushing, that's when Cordell's got to realize he has to read the coverage, concentrate a little bit more, and keep a little bit more poise in the pocket.
Thigpen to the top of the screen. Blackwell, Johnson, and Hawkins to the bottom. Stewart's pass complete inside the 5-yard line. Courtney Hawkins with a reception. First and goal, Pittsburgh.
What Cordell Stewart did right there, he kept his poise, he stayed in the pocket, he read the defense. Linebackers dropping back, only 3 guys rushing. I think the Ravens were a little confused right there, and all of a sudden he waits for him to get past the linebackers. Excellent throw, good read by Cordell Stewart.
Rondell Jones saved the touchdown, but now it's first and goal, Pittsburgh. Spot the ball at the 2. 7 goal-to-goal opportunities, 7 touchdowns.
Not a bad stat.
The bus dives short of the end zone. Down around the 1-yard line, Jerome Bettis. It'll be second and goal.
I don't think you're going to see too many of the guys on the outside linebackers in this situation, down inside the 2 to 1 yard line, rushing from the corners. They're going to respect Cordell Stewart because they're going to be worried about that little bootleg.
Bettis, who averaged over 100 yards a game against the Ravens in 2 meetings last year with 55 yards. This will be the 6th play of the drive coming up. They're going to try to pound it in. They've got Lester, Whitman, and Bettis all in the game. Cordell Stewart. Touchdown. Just able to break the plane of the goal line as Cordell Stewart rushes for his 5th touchdown of the season.
He goes right over Damani Dawson, Wolford, and Maslinski. And Cordell Stewart's done this a few times. One thing you have to do is just break the plane with the football. That's exactly what Cordell did right there.
Stewart with the rushing touchdown. Had a couple of them last week against Tennessee and was at 5th on the season. Here's Norm Johnson for the extra point. And he boots it through. How important are turnovers? 4 touchdowns in the game, all the result of turnovers. Baltimore, all 4 touchdowns in the game, the result of turnovers. There have been a total of 5. The only one not converted was a Testaverde interception made by Pittsburgh, and then they turned right down and handed it back. So turnover-marred game, leading to every score. James Rowe from the end zone. Makes the sideline and makes a good return of it. Out to about the 30-yard line, 33-yard return. Well, the battle for the National League pennant begins Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. The Marlins against the Braves, game 1 of the LCS. Tuesday in prime time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Here on NBC, it's scheduled to be Maddox against Brown. Marlins actually won 8 of 12 against the Braves this season, but Maddox has been so dominant in that first game he pitched in their sweep. Do you think the Marlins have a chance?
Of course. You have your teams. I've always been a Pittsburgh Pirate fan, but now I'm a Baltimore Orioles and a Florida Marlins.
It's a great weekend for bird watching here in Baltimore with the Ravens playing now and the Orioles set to play at 4 o'clock in their game 4 against Seattle Mariners. So the bird watchers well in force in Baltimore.
And I wonder how many of these fans right here are going to be rushing to Camden Yards to try to catch the Oriole game too after this one.
We understand the Ravens' Jay Graham is in the locker room for an x-ray of an arm he was injured. Here's the swing pass to Bam Morris, good for only a couple of yards to the 40.
Brought down by Earl Holt.
2.5 minutes left, second quarter.
21-7 Baltimore.
And I don't think Vinny and the Ravens can be conservative now. They gave up that touchdowns, 21-7's closing back now. They have to be able to mix it up. Vinny going with the no-huddle offense once again.
Took a pause to read the defense, called his play, and completes it to Jackson. Well done. Testaverde looked over the defense, decided on his play, found his receiver Jackson for 13 yards. And that will come at the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes left in the first half. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
I believe education is the most important development in a person's life. With a solid education, anything is possible. I'm Carnell Lake, defensive back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Through agencies like the Salvation Army, Catholic Charities, and the Urban League, United Way ensures that people get help when they need it most. The United Way and the NFL, together we can build better communities for all of us.
The NFL, the United Way, and you, the power of teamwork.
This is Barry Sanders Field.
Barry learned to run.
Where we learned his moves. He spins, he jukes.
He's like crazy, you know. Barry used to play flag football. He said if someone can't grab your flag,
there's no way they'll ever be able to tackle you.
he's like a pinball.
This is Barry Sanders Field,
Where we learn to play. Football is football no matter where you play.
2 minutes till intermission. It's 21-7 Baltimore. And the Ravens with the football in Steeler territory, just inside the Pittsburgh 48. Testaverde is 12 of 22 for 148 yards in the first half. 2 touchdown passes. Had the one picked off, but it did no harm. It's been the only turnover in the first half that was not converted into points.
It's a big series for the Steelers. I mean, they get the touchdown, but the defense has to rise to the occasion right now because they want to go into this locker room with some momentum on their side. If the Ravens are able to take the ball down, get in field goal position, or score a touchdown, they can take a lot of air out of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Steelers needed a big play, and they got a couple of them. They had the long punt by Miller. Then they had the turnover, the recovery of the fumble by Joel Steed from Testaverde, and then able to punch it in for the touchdown. So they needed a spark. They got one. Now they need to continue it with the final 2 minutes of the half.
Testaverde has a lot of time left.
Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Knocked down by Kevin Henry.
At times, I'm sitting there watching, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're so accustomed to doing the zone blitzing. But when you zone blitz a team like the Ravens, with all the weapons they have, and Alexander and Jackson and Jermaine Lewis, it puts your defensive backs in a situation where they have to cover man-to-man, one-on-one all the time. And maybe that's one of the main reasons that the Steelers are not coming with a more conventional zone blitzing scheme. But I expect to see him come at least once or twice in this drive.
Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, trying to mix things up. Testaverde completes the pass to Eric Green. Stops short of the first down. He's to about the 44-yard line. Myron Bell made a nice tackle of big Eric Green. And it'll be 3rd and long.
That's exactly what they did right there. They came with a safety. Chris Oldham rushed on the inside, blitzed on the inside. And again, Testaverde seen one-on-one and hoped that Green would be able to break a tackle and get a big play.
Each team with a full complement of timeouts. Testaverde got great protection. Inside the 30 goes Alexander. First down Baltimore. A 14-yard strike from Testaverde to Alexander. Fuller and Bell covering on the play. And the Steelers are saying they have the football. I don't know what they're saying here.
And I'm sure Ted Marchibroda right now is saying, oh, no, not this again. Here's a play right here. You see Alexander break in, and the key to this is having the time to throw the football. But, oh, that was close. That was close. Have to take another look and see if his knee was down. But
I think his knee was down. 7th play of the drive, and it's nothing for Bam Morris. There's a flag down as Morris is knocked down hard for a loss.
And here's another look. If you look at his right knee to see if it's down before the ball is knocked out, or left knee, boom. That's close. I don't know, Tom.
Pretty close, I agree. Close call.
And officials can't make the right call every time.
Face mask, number 93, defense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Joel Steed with a face mask penalty. Yeah, we saw it in slow motion and thought it was a close call, so you can imagine at full speed how tough that would be. Testaverde is going to try to run. He'll be stopped. Stephen Conley corralled Vinny Testaverde with 51 seconds left.
And just watching Vinny Testaverde on that particular play, he had Eric Green the whole way, but Eric Green was covered, double covered, and Vinny dropped back, and he is isolated right on number 86. He wanted to throw him the football, but again, good coverage by the defense.
Stay with us at halftime. The Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report. Greg Gumbel, Chris Collinsworth, Sam White catch you up on the scores and highlights. Plus an interview with the NFL's leading receiver, Tim Brown, of the Oakland Raiders. That's the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report about 51 seconds from now.
Right there, I bet Ted Marks Brothers telling Vinny Testaverde, if we're going to throw the football, don't take a sack. If you feel pressure, throw it away. Right now, they're in field goal range. Maybe a draw, maybe a screen pass right here would be pretty good, but one thing you don't want to do is take that loss. Don't get put out of field goal position.
Ravens just taking their first time out. It's 2nd and 8.
After 28.
Testaverde changes the play. Did he pick up a blitz?
Of course, you know Bill Cowher told us what he's going to try to do, try to confuse him.
Van Morris tripped up in the backfield, fought his way back to the line of scrimmage. It was Myron Bell that got the penetration and the hand on Morris.
That's the only bad thing about running the football now with only under 50 seconds to go is when you do that, it takes so much time off the clock that you have to get your team back up on the line of scrimmage, get him going. He still has 2 timeouts left.
Testaverde so far on 3rd down. Trying to convert one here. He's 4 of 5 so far. And he has another one to Alexander.
Timeout, Vinny, timeout. Use your timeout. Timeout.
11-yard gain. Randy Fuller and a timeout Baltimore. Fuller saved the touchdown, but Alexander with a good catch in traffic.
You see Alexander, he breaks to the inside. And Vinny waits till he gets to the point. He sticks it in there. And only Vinny Testaverde. There's not too many quarterbacks in the NFL with a strong enough arm to be able to get that in between the 2 defenders.
And Alexander made a nice grab of it. You helped recruit Vinny Testaverde to the University of Miami, I guess. Did you recognize in those early days that he had that kind of arm?
Well, number one is when you are in college, they're starting to look for the taller, the bigger quarterbacks. I recruited both Vinny and Bernie Kosar to come to the University of Miami. All of a sudden, boom, they're both there. They both signed. So I guess that shows you what type of recruiter I am there, Tom.
Yeah, pretty good. 10th play of the Baltimore drive. First down. They have 1 timeout left. Ball's at the 16 of the Steelers. Testaverde buying a little time, heaves it out of the end zone. Michael Jackson was covered well by Randy Fuller.
Well, Vinny wanted to throw that pass right there. He had to throw that out of the break. The defensive back is far enough off the ball where he's not going to let the guy catch a long pass in the end zone. Yeah, I'll let him catch it in front of me and I'll tackle him. All of a sudden, he'll have to use his last time out of it. But right there, Vinny doing an excellent job throwing the ball away.
So Matt Stover, the NFL Special Teams Player of the Month of September, is on to attempt a 34-yard field goal. The all-time leader in field goal accuracy is 14 of 15 this season. 34-yard attempt. Stover has it on its way, and it's good. So the Baltimore Ravens slow the Steelers' momentum and increase their lead on Stover's field goal. It's now 24-7 with 5 seconds left in what has been a disastrous first half for Cowher and the Steelers.
Especially the offense. But one thing, Cordell Stewart, with the 3 interceptions, he was able to come back, get back into his rhythm. He got his team in the end zone, but one thing, going into that locker room, you know Bill Cowher is going to have some words for his team because he's going to be fired up. You know he is, letting the team like the Ravens be able to come down the field and get 3 points on the board.
Stover's field goal capping a 51-yard, 11-play drive to increase it to a 24-7 margin. And Stover ready to kick off. So just 5 seconds left in the half. The Steelers look for a big return. And this game very important in the AFC Central standings with Jacksonville on top and then the Ravens at 3-2. And the Steelers right behind at 2-2. Jacksonville tied with Cincinnati 7-7 at halftime. So one of these teams hopes to gain some ground. They're both right in the Central Division race. Squib kick picked up by Blackwell. No, he let it go into the end zone, and there will down it for the touchback. And the Steelers once again experiencing those AFC Central road woes. Their last win on the road against a Central Division opponent was in November of 1995 against the Cleveland Browns, who of course later would move on to become the Baltimore Ravens.
Wow, that's a long time. A couple years. I'm sure they want to turn things around, but first half, it's not looking too good. But again, Kordell Stewart has to come in and keep his poise and pull himself together, because this is not going to be the last time. If he's going to be a quarterback for the future, it won't be the last time that he'll be faced with 3 interceptions in one half. He just hopes it doesn't happen all the time.
And with 5 seconds left, Kordell Stewart will take a knee to bring the first half to a close. A first half marred by turnovers. Ted Marchibroda and Bill Cowher have seen the turnovers fly. Now the Domino's Pizza NFL and NBC halftime report after these messages from your local station. On the Steelers 24-7, thanks to turnovers. All but 3 points in the game have been scored as a result of turnovers. And we started the broadcast by talking about Kordell Stewart and his maturation as the quarterback of the Steelers. Is this a setback?
Well, it is to a certain point first half. I mean, when you throw 3 interceptions, you can't have that much confidence coming back. One thing I think Bill Cowher had to do in the half is go back, sit Kordell Stewart down and say, hey, that half is over with. Forget about that. Let's go look at the second half and see what we can do here.
Well, the numbers for Kordell in the first half, only 65 yards passing. You see, we had noted he had made a steady progression, especially the last 2 games, Jacksonville and Tennessee. And so far, at least in this first half, with 3 interceptions and only 65 yards, it has been a bit of a setback for Kordell Stewart. But they remain patient with him, don't they?
Well, they have to. I mean, if this is the quarterback that Bill Cowher has to count on, you have to be patient. I mean, the first part of the game, early on the first quarter, Kordell Stewart did throw to 3 interceptions. But the last possession, he was able to take his team into the end zone. So hopefully that'll carry over into the second half.
Let's take a look at our Coors Light halftime stats now. And big factor will be the turnovers, leading to 21 points for the Ravens and 7 points for the Steelers. 175 yards passing, only 57 for Pittsburgh. And the big story of the first half was the veteran Eugene Daniel, who had 2 interceptions. And those 24 points by Baltimore in the first half ties a team record that they set against the Steelers last year on December 1st. Eugene Daniel, his 200th game, already 2 picks.
And you talked, and I guess you were a little surprised yesterday when we were talking to Eugene Daniel. First thing, of course, you had to say to him, how many interceptions did you pick off from Jim? And he said, I don't think he did, but I'll tell you one thing, I respected him. He was the type of defensive back that likes to take chances, and he told us that being as old as he is right now, he doesn't quite take as many chances as he used to. What he does now, he watches more film. He's more patient back there.
And he looked like it, too, because he sort of bided his time on the 2 interceptions today, sort of played a little hide and seek with Kordell Stewart, broke on the football, was able to make the 2 interceptions. And Kordell Stewart victimized by 3 in this first half, trying to rally his team now. And Bill Cowher has all the confidence in the world in his quarterback. And as we talked to Kordell yesterday, I was struck, too, by how much more confident he is than he has been in prior years when we have talked to him, when he was doing his everything role for the Steelers.
Well, I can't remember those years as far as talking to him, but he did. He came in to the meeting yesterday with us, very confident in his ability, which he should be. I mean, he's an excellent athlete. Even Bill Cowher said he thought that Kordell could be an all-pro at wide receiver.
And he said, why can't I be all-pro at quarterback? And Kordell laughed at that, and Cowher said, basically, that was what I wanted to hear. Here's Stover with the kickoff of the second half. And Blackwell will return it. Fake the reverse. Blackwell still has it. Burst free. He's got a blocker in front. Only Stover to beat, and Blackwell will go for the touchdown. It'll be a 97-yard kickoff return.
What a way to start out the second half. I think Bill Cowher wanted to run the distance with Blackwell down there, but again, a fake reverse. And when you do it something like this, I guess at times you have the option whether to hand it off or keep it. Right there, he shows his speed. It's just a matter of going down the field and having excellent blocking. And you know Bill Cowher is fired up now.
Adams gave him the last block to get rid of Stover, and Blackwell, who had a 52-yard return against Jacksonville, takes this one 97 yards to shock Marchibroda and the Ravens on the first play of the second half.
And Cordell Stewart is on the sideline saying, I don't care how we score as long as we score.
Norm Johnson for the extra point. And it's good as the Steelers strike on the kickoff to open the second half. The first kickoff touchdown return against Baltimore in the Ravens' 2-year history.
We'll take a look at it. And once you break out into the open like this, if you have a good block against the kicker, you know that 90% of the time you're going to score a touchdown because kickers are not used to tackling. Plus, they don't want to.
Will Blackwell, the rookie from San Diego State, second-round choice. Cowher knows it right here. Cowher knows that Blackwell is gone. Will was the San Diego State record holder with 197 receptions from his wide receiver spot. Prep All-American at Oakland Skyline High School. And here he has a 97-yard kickoff return.
One thing that the Ravens didn't want to do is look out there and see all these terrible towels waving right now. And they're even running out into the stands trying to get these guys fired up.
As we noted earlier, a sizable Pittsburgh contingent on hand here in Baltimore. And suddenly, the complexion of the game has changed. Norm Johnson will kick it off.
But that was like an uppercut right there, like in boxing, almost like a knockout punch. But I'll tell you what, now I'm going to find out what the Ravens are all about right here. The poise of Vinny Testaverde and, of course, the defense being able to shut down the Steelers once they have the football back.
Johnson's kick. Bouncing around, Jermaine Lewis can't pick it up. Now he's got it. And he's knocked out of bounds about the 25-yard line. So Testaverde now with some work to do after seeing the Steelers move within 10. Now what happens here? I asked you earlier what Cordell Stewart might say in the huddle, having thrown 3 interceptions. As the celebration for Blackwell continues on the Steelers sideline. What does Vinny say? Does he try to calm his troops down here and say, let's not panic, we're still up, let's go about our business?
And talking to Vinny, he seems like he's accepted that role as a leader. And I'm sure he's had some words with his teammates once he got that huddle. Hey guys, we're not us, we're still on top.
Bam Morris, no blocking. Stopped for a loss. Everybody was there. Nolan Harrison was first. And then Steed joined him.
One thing I like to do is when something like that happens, come back with a pass. I like to be able to quick 5-step drop because you know the defensive line for the Pittsburgh Steelers right now are fired up. They're more so on first down looking for their run. So come back with a pass.
On second down, Testaverde will pass. Incomplete. Intended for Eric Green.
Eric Green looks like he's either limping, but because he came out of that break not as sharp as he usually is. And Vinny, of course, really didn't have him open. Took a chance, but he let him enough just in case Green would have been able to get a hand on him.
4 of 6, each one of those completions on third down, leading to a first from the no huddle. Testaverde nearly intercepted, knocked away from Michael Jackson by Randy Fuller.
That's just excellent coverage by Randy Fuller. Had Jackson covered one-on-one. And when you have receivers like this, and they're going to bring the linebackers on the outside, you know it's going to be man-to-man coverage. Testaverde took a chance putting it out there. He's lucky that one wasn't returned for a touchdown.
Greg Montgomery will punt. And guess who's back there? Will Blackwell. Montgomery sends it toward Blackwell. Makes a nice move. And then he's hit hard and finally dragged down at about the 36-yard line. Deron Jenkins, after only a 6-yard return, the punt covered 46. It's a 10-point game.
Thanks for the truck, Dad. What'd you do? Not much. Where'd you go? Kurt's. You still talking about moving that old barn? No.
The best long-term quality of any full-size pickup belongs to Chevy.
Had a scratch? Nope.
Chevy, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
It's fall. That means two things: football and projects. That's why we're having the True Value Kickoff Kick-In sale. We're kicking it off by kicking in savings throughout the store, so you can get all those projects done and still have time to enjoy the season. Pick up a gallon of Easy Care Satin Finish Interior Paint. It's just $14.99 and available only at True Value. Official hardware store of the NFL and homes everywhere.
Hope my car gets fixed today.
And my sink. And my furnace. And my lawnmower.
What? You idiot! You're gonna get us caught.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down,
Eddie!
make it a Bud Light.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. By Visa, the official card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be. By Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes. And by Aetna Retirement Services, built for retirement, managed for life.
With producer Mark Wolf, director Bucky Gunts, Tom Hammond, Jim Kelly in beautiful Baltimore. 85-degree October afternoon. At one time, the Ravens had a 21-0 lead. Now it's 24-14, and the Steelers have the ball. Jerome Bettis makes a nice cut up and breaks free. Bettis twisted, got away, just tackled at the 45-yard line by McCrary. While the bus was in overdrive, and McCrary was just able to grab him and stop further damage.
Again, going on the right side line, Thomas Linsky and Justin Strauszak. What you want to do is be able to go right. They got the momentum on their side right now. Give it to your horse. Give it to the bus. And so far, when he's been able to get to the outside, he's been very successful.
That one good for 19 yards, 76 on the afternoon for Jerome. Thigpen on the end around. Nothing doing. Minimal gain. Rob Burnett not fooled by the Pittsburgh trickery.
You got to keep them honest. You got to throw a couple of those in. I think that I remember Andre Reed. This is something we probably use 2 or 3 times a game. Maybe at times, maybe too much, but it averaged over 14 yards every time we did run the reverse. And we didn't look at it as a reverse. We looked at it as a pull, a trap play, because we did pull a guard around.
That one only good for 3 yards. Stewart retreating, gets to the outside. He's going to run with it. And Stewart has the first down and more. The multi-dimensional talent of Cordell Stewart. There is a penalty marker. 13 yards if it stands.
Peter Bulmer with the pressure.
It will not. A clip against the Steelers.
Personal foul, clipping, number 62, offense. 15-yard penalty, remains second down.
Tom Myslinski is number 62. Right side of the screen.
See him being able to come out here, but Peter Bulwer just is running. He's coming upfield, and he gets outside. And one thing you don't want to do, and it's a what he does, he doesn't let him go. Once he had control of him, he should just let him go because he started sliding to his back, and once he stayed on him, that's where the clip happened.
That was pretty obvious. It nullifies a first down run. Instead, it's 2nd and 22. Stewart's pass, short hops Johnson, incomplete. Cordell might have short-armed that one a little bit because guess who was covering Johnson? Eugene Daniel, who already has suckered Stewart into 2 interceptions today.
And he had him. All he had to do was step into his throw. He's not really following through. Again, might be second-guessing himself, but one thing that he might want to try to do is, like I said earlier, maybe throw 1 or 2 more passes to the tight end. Maybe throw that little swing screen pass to the bust in the flat.
On 3rd down, he's 2 of 6. And 2 of his interceptions again have come on 3rd down plays. Crossing route, Big Pen. Not even close to a first down. Donnie Brady made sure.
That's all they did. The Ravens defense just dropped back, kept everybody in front of him. Cordell knew he had the time. He looked downfield. He didn't see anybody open. Just give it to a quick back, a receiver out of the backfield. Hey, take your chance that he's going to break maybe 1 tackle. But again, he didn't force the pass.
Gain of 10 yards on 4th down. Lewis awaits the boot by Josh Miller. Sailing, Jermaine Lewis. He's going to let it bounce, and it goes out of bounds inside the 5. Boy, Miller had the English on that one, didn't he? 44-yard punt that pins the Ravens deep. Well done, Josh. Still a 10-point game. The NFL on NBC.
When we
Well, a lot of players here. A first down for the Ravens, but they're all the way back to their own 4-yard line. Testaverde passes from his own end zone, complete to Eric Green, who rolls to about the 12-yard line. He's going to be a couple yards short of first down territory. Levon Kirkland covered him there.
A little breathing room there. That's what you want. Vinny Testaverde again in the no-huddle pace, but again, being able to find a big tight end like Eric Green.
Bam Morris bursting free at the line of scrimmage. Bangs off one would-be tackler and is across the 25, where Darren Perry finally rides him down. 16-yard ramble by Bam Morris.
Here you see Bam Morris going to the right side. And what you want to do is be able to get him up there and stay away from guys like Levon Kirkland and Greg Lloyd on the outside. They're going right at the heart of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Morris in his 2nd game back from the league suspension. Testaverde hits Eric Green again. That's good for about 9 yards. Kirkland and Wolford getting Big Eric down. You notice Eric weighs about 285. He's got a big rear end. Vinny Testaverde was saying he thinks that's the key to his success. Nobody can get around him.
You're probably right. I mean, being that big, being a tight end, I wouldn't want to be a defensive back trying to tackle.
And tough, too. Look at the blood all over his uniform pants. Has a touchdown catch today.
Players love that. They love to show, you know, hey, this is a physical game. And, you know, I do have some cuts because everybody's saying, wow, look how tough he is. He has blood all over him.
Fooled us. Just short of the first down. There's Big Eric.
But I don't know many sissies that play in the National Football League. I'll put it that way, Tom. They might say a few things about the kickers, but they're not quite.
What about quarterbacks?
Oh, never. Maybe, let me see. If I can think back, I don't remember too many quarterbacks, at least top quarterbacks, that were a little, you know.
Prima donnas?
Some.
Oh, I see.
None in this booth.
I got you. I wouldn't say it anyway because I know that East Brady left cross would be coming my way.
That's right. I was taught very well back home.
Bam Morris only needs a few inches. Didn't have it at first, but as he twisted his way, spinning to first down yardage. And it's going to actually be pretty close at that. And they're going to give it a close eyeball. In fact, they're going to have to call the chains out once again.
And Bam Morris saying and telling us yesterday that coming back, they were kind of surprised the game that he had last year and pretty much surprised that he came back 15 pounds lighter than he was last year at this exact same time. So Bam Morris wanted to prove that, you know, he is back and he wants to be able to let his teammates know exactly where his heart is.
Well, he is still short. Bam saying that when he played in Pittsburgh, it was just like a job. He didn't really feel part of the offense. But with his second suspension as a member of the Ravens now, he felt that he really was part, and it hurt him to miss. Felt like he let the rest of the team down. Could have made a play or two, and maybe they would have won another game or so. Maybe the 1-point loss here to Jacksonville, he could have made a difference. So takes responsibility, full responsibility for his actions, says he has to learn discipline, keep his focus, and stay straight from now on. Here's Bam again to the outside this time, and he will have it. Nolan Harrison tripped him up as Morris bounced the play to the outside and is a little slow getting up. Steelers did a pretty good job of jamming it inside, so Morris slipped it to the outside and has the first down yardage. He's carried for 43 yards today, 13 carries, 43 yards, including a touchdown.
Well, right here, he just tries to get to the outside, and pretty much the Steelers had everything covered on the inside. It's hard to see exactly what really happened there, but he got enough for the first down, and the good thing about it, he's up walking around.
Did have to leave the field, however. Morris on the sideline. Ernest Biner is in there. And Testaverde goes deep down the sideline. No good. Jackson did not hold on. Made a valiant diving effort, but Michael Jackson unable to hold on to the football.
Those type of passes, I know that would have been an excellent, excellent catch, but at times, in order to get to the upper echelon with the Jerry Rices, the Michael Irvins, you have to come up with these. And I'm sure I've seen him in the past where he has come up with some excellent catches. And too bad for Jackson and Vinny that he didn't come up with that one.
And he leaves the field a little shaken up on second down. Swing it complete to Ernest Biner. And Biner stopped for a loss. Let's get an update on the Jacksonville Jaguars now from Greg.
Oliver Gibson.
All right, Tom, in Jacksonville, the Jaguars up by a touchdown. Jeff Blake on 4th and 1 keeps and goes 8 yards for a touchdown, but the extra point was no good. So Jacksonville with a 1-point lead on the Bengals in the third. Tom, back to you and Jim.
All right, Greg, thank you. Jacksonville leads the AFC Central, clinging to a 1-point lead thanks to the missed extra point. Testaverde dumps it off complete to Ernest Biner. But he stopped short of the first down, and it'll be a punting situation for the Ravens. Carnell Lake made a nice tackle in the open field on the veteran Ernest Biner, who is just a couple of months older than Eugene Daniel, the two graybeards on this Raven team.
Two graybeards. Ah, I like it.
That's what I'd be saying about you if you were still out.
Oh, of course. And one thing, I do have a gray beard. That's why I never let any hair grow on my chin.
Or what about your head?
I don't have enough hair up there to even grow any.
Blackwell from the 11. Got away from one, but not the second. That was Donnie Brady that was able to catch him down. He lost 2 yards on that return after a 42-yard punt. Good job by Brady.
Every move that the organization made regarding players, you were consulted.
I don't think there was a player that was brought here that they didn't call me about. I always try and speak from the point of view of the team. I get blamed for everything that happens around here anyway, and I get the credit for everything.
The NFL on NBC next Sunday.
Largest crowd of the season, 64,421 on hand at Memorial Stadium, seeing their Ravens lead by 10, and maybe it's time to load up the bus and head down the field. When Bredis rushes for more than 100, they're 9-3, and he's got 76 so far. Trying to add to that right here. And Bettis is going to do that. He's got 10 more. You know, Pittsburgh is full of all sorts of things named the bus these days. He had on a bus hat and a bus T-shirt yesterday, but he said his favorite of them all are those bus cookies.
Oatmeal raisin. It just happens to be my favorite, too, and I told him, I said, well, they're not quite as fattening as chocolate chip, but it all depends how much butter he uses, he said.
And perhaps how many of them you eat, too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
86 yards for Bettis. Fake it to him this time. Cordell still has it. And Stewart tries to throw it to Bettis. He got away with one there. Antonio Langham had dead aim on that one, and he would have waltzed into the end zone.
Waltz, he could have went backwards. When you roll away from, when you throw across the field, you better make sure that there's no defensive back waiting for this football, because I can understand you throwing it across if the receiver's coming to you, but when he's going away from you and there's a defensive back on you, boy, that's taking a big chance.
2nd and 10. Bettis. Smacked down hard. Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker. Webster was there too. Webster replacing Tony Siragusa. And one of the reasons Bettis perhaps is approaching 90 yards because Siragusa, the best run stopper, I don't think has been in the game yet.
And what they're doing is they're trying to stay inside the tackles again, see if Will Wolford and Dawson and Moslinski can get those guys out of there, because when you have the linebackers can go east and west, go right at him might be the best thing to do.
You saw the Goose watching from the sidelines. That big wide body is good at stopping the run. Stewart, wide open Johnson, and he will have the first down. Charles Johnson from Stewart, 1st and 10.
Excellent read by Cordell Stewart, because what he had was Rondell Jones blitzing straight up the middle. He knew he had outside one-on-one coverage. He knew that the defensive back had cushion. It was just a matter of throwing the ball out there, the receiver coming back.
Cordell 9 of 18 for 84 yards now, but the big factor, those 3 interceptions, all 3 turned into touchdowns by the Ravens. It's 24-14 with a first down. Steelers at their own 33. Stewart still has it after faking the end around, and he has Thigpen, Yancey Thigpen to the 30. Rondell Jones and Antonio Langham, and that was set up by the reverse they ran earlier. It only got 3 yards, you'll remember, but now it pays a big dividend as they fake it. The Ravens bite, and it's a 35-yard pass completion.
And right there, Cordell Stewart, what he did, he hid the football very well. And when I saw the receiver out there, I was saying to myself, flatten him out, flatten him out. Don't try to lead him, because you try to lead him, it gives the defensive back time to catch up. Excellent job by Cordell, flatten the receiver out towards the sidelines.
First down Steelers, now at the Raven 30-yard line. Bettis. Actually stood up by the defense and still managed to fall forward for a yard or two. Larry Webster was the first to get there. Tim Lester has not been in the game this series. John Whitman has been the blocking back for Jerome Bettis. But Jerome, the bus, closing in on 100. He's at 91 yards for the game now.
You like that. You like the bus, don't you?
I do.
You jumping on that bus?
How could you not? 3-time Pro Bowler. Career high 1,431 yards a season ago. Here he is again. And the bus to the 19 in the express lane before Ray Lewis can clog it up.
You're right, everybody's going to jump on the bus, especially when he's going north and south now. Cordell Stewart looking downfield, almost like a delayed draw with a fullback leading up through the hole. And when you have a back that's got the momentum going, heck, keep feeding it to him, keep feeding it to him.
101 yards, remember, they are 9-3 when Bettis rushes for over 100. They trail by 10 currently. So Lewis has been seeing a steady diet of Jerome Bettis in his face. Stewart. Complete to the 10. Thigpen. Boulware and Daniel combine on the stop.
And again, Cordell Stewart taking his time, being patient, wait till Yancey Thigpen comes underneath, taking what they're giving him. He's not trying to force the ball in. He's not trying to make the big play right now. Take 1 or 2 passes that were within the 4 or 5 yard range. Let his receivers run with the football.
Second down and a yard. Stewart directing this impressive drive. Caught for the end zone, and Johnson can't get there. Antonio Langham defending. Took a shot at the end zone, was 2nd and 1.
That's what they did. They took a chance. Cordell Stewart knew he was going to the corner. He threw it a little bit probably before the receiver was ready. But what he didn't want to do was hold on to the ball too long because there was pressure coming. Right now it's a 3rd down, a little over a yard probably.
In the red zone, Cordell Stewart, 2 of 4 for 22 yards and an interception. Stewart trying to sneak ahead for the 1st down. It was tough yardage. It'll be close on the 10th play of the drive that started all the way back deep in Steeler territory.
I remember a few weeks back, Tom, telling you, when I was quarterbacking, if Marv Levy ever thought about running the quarterback sneak, I'd say no way. Last year, my last year as a Bill, we ran it a few times, but I'll tell you what, one thing you do, you set yourself up for a linebacker coming over the top, helmet to helmet, and in that situation, they might be able to get away with it. But I'll tell you what, one thing you don't want to do as a quarterback, and that's get dinged.
Yeah, but when you're young and feeling strong and confident like Cordell Stewart, it's a little different story now.
Of course, he can run just a tad better than I could.
A tad better.
Yeah, just a tad.
It's short. It'll be 4th down and inches. They have come 80 yards on 10 plays. They've converted only 33% of their 4th downs. So Bill Cowher makes the decision here, go for it or kick the field goal. He's down 10.
You think this might be a good time to jump on the bus? The Ravens might be the ones that know that.
The bus is in the tailback of the eye. John Whitman is the up back. Cordell Stewart dives over the top. Forward progress, I believe, will get it for him. See, again, you didn't want to sneak. You wanted to give it to the bus. But Cordell, with those strong, agile legs, dives over the top and gets enough for the 1st down.
And he's able to dive over the top. He's that good of an athlete that at certain times you know what the defensive line is going to do. The defensive line is going to almost like submarine, so it's going to give him enough time and enough room to be able to get over top. But you have to watch out for the linebackers coming out. You can see how he leans more to the left or more to the right. He doesn't exactly go right over the center.
2 minutes left in the 3rd. 1st and goal. 12th play of the drive. Stewart to Johnson. Touchdown. Stewart found Johnson for the score. I think everyone was looking for them to hand it to Jerome Bettis and pound it. And on 1st and goal, he strikes to Charles Johnson.
And you can see he was going to Charles Johnson from start to finish right there. Credit that with Cordell Stewart's strong arm, because he knew as soon as Johnson turned around, he had to deliver that football, because if he waited a hair second longer, it would either been intercepted or knocked down. So excellent play by Johnson and Cordell Stewart.
Norm Johnson's extra point is good. And the Steelers are right back in it. Charles Johnson, with his 1st touchdown catch of the season, has made it 24-21.
Somewhere, some poor slob's punching a time clock.
You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Did we say Cordell Stewart was maturing? He's shaken off 3 first-half interceptions, just directed a 90-yard drive in 12 plays to pull the Steelers within 3. Jermaine Lewis runs into his old man and then is tackled at the 25-yard line. Scrambling around for the football.
I don't know about that, Tom, but I'll tell you what, that's the type of tackle you want to inspire your team.
Lethon Flowers was the man that made that form tackle. That's the way they do it in practice, isn't it? When they practice form tackling.
Yeah, but usually it's on dummies in practice.
Right. Ravens have the football. But my, how the momentum has changed. Cordell Stewart able to shake off the mistakes that happened early to get his team right back into it. That maybe is the most impressive part of his performance so far. Didn't get down, and that's one thing I know, Jim, you have harped on about quarterbacks. You've got to be able to shake off the last play and go on to the next, something that Vinny had trouble doing early in his career and is much better at now.
Yeah, he definitely is, and Cordell, I think, has done a good job coming out in the second half. He's getting some help from his defense. The one thing he had to do is come out here, forget about the interceptions, and watching him with Mike Tomczak earlier, you can tell he's a lot happier.
Back to Baltimore in a moment.
Oh, hi, honey. Am I excited about Thursday?
Out Annette Surfer. And we remind you that the NFL season extends to the World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. All the scores and stats, including a complete roundup of this weekend's scores and action, plus chat live with some of the NFL's biggest stars, all at NFL.com. Well, Vinny Testaverde has really spread the ball around. We said he had a lot of weapons to work with. He's hit 7 different receivers so far in the game.
Wow. He's definitely spreading it out. Usually it's either Alexander or Jackson, but now he's just trying to find anybody that's open.
Found that one, and he drilled it in there. Not much room, but he got it to Yarborough. That's number 8. Now 8 different Ravens have caught a pass from Vinny Testaverde. There is a flag down. It will nullify that completion.
One good thing about when you spread the football, nobody can complain. Of course, unless you're a guy that's used to catching 8 or 9 balls a game, and then you might have something to say then.
Personal foul, face mask, number 33, offense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's Bam Morris. Well, there they are. That would have been 8, but it's nullified. So 7 different receivers have been on the receiving end from Testaverde today.
And the bottom line is, it doesn't matter who catches the football. When the game's over, if you win, there should be no arguing. I can remember Andre Reed a little bit. Every once in a while, he'd get a little angry when he didn't catch his usual 6, 7, 8 passes, but heck, he's one of the best to ever play the game.
Well, when you spread it around like this, the Steelers are faced with the dilemma, who do you cover? Testaverde got away from a would-be sack, still trying to buy some time, and now finally down. Jason Gilden caught up to Testaverde after he had danced free a couple of times.
That's the difference between Vinny Testaverde and Cordell Stewart. Vinny, what he tries to do right here, he tries to find an open receiver every time. Look, he has the ball still in his hands, and once he gets away, he's still trying to look for that open receiver, where Cordell Stewart would have pulled that ball down and ran. There's pluses and minuses to both sides.
Testaverde again having trouble finding a man, finally does. It's Ernest Biner. Biner's tracked down at about the 18-yard line by Levon Kirkland. Impressive closing speed by the 275-pound Kirkland.
I was just going to say that. I mean, I saw Biner catch the football, and all of a sudden Kirkland running after him. He's able to catch him. That's some speed with him for a big man. Now you know why I retired from football, Tom. When you get guys that are 275 pounds that can run down a running back like an Ernest Biner, it's time to step away from the game.
And with that play, the third quarter will come to a close. Cordell Stewart has his team with the momentum. We'll be back to Baltimore after these messages from your local station. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
Last week, she was Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
At one point, the Ravens led 21-0, but thanks to 2 third-quarter touchdowns, the margin now only a field goal. Steelers outscoring the Ravens 14-0 in the third. Here's the first play of the fourth quarter, a third down for Testaverde. And his pass incomplete. Jackson made a diving attempt, and Testaverde looks at his hand again as if it slipped.
I don't know about that. I think there was miscommunication. Vinny was throwing a square in, and Jackson was curling up. And I think they might need to get on the same page, come to the sidelines, talk about what happened there, because he had the room on the square, and of course, Jackson pulling up.
Greg Montgomery is on to punt. Will Blackwell will receive it, standing at about his 33-yard line. Low snap, Montgomery gets it away. Blackwell from the 36. Can't get to the outside. Good coverage that time by the Ravens special teams, with Cornell Brown nudging Blackwell out of bounds.
4 yards on the return.
4-yard return after a 45-yard punt. Bill Cowher never lost his cool. We've seen him, boy, in the Jacksonville game, he was so intense, but he was very patient today with his young quarterback, Cordell Stewart, after Cordell had thrown 3 interceptions, and Cordell rewarded him by keeping his own poise and has them now within striking distance.
Begin their series at the 41.
And, you know, Bill Cowher takes these guys and he tells them this is not a game, this is a war. And just by his reaction on the sidelines, I believe him.
Fake. Cordell Stewart hits Johnson. Close to a first down. Eugene Daniel the tackle. Play action fake and a pass by Stewart.
Cordell telling us that one thing that he learned by being a receiver was coming back to the football. And here you see Johnson coming back. If he waits, he gives the defensive back time to come up and make the play. But again, good job by Johnson coming back to the football. An excellent throw by Cordell Stewart.
There's Johnson. I formation this time. Lester and Bettis. The bus dropped. Loss on the play. James Jones with penetration.
And at times you think when you run motion, what it's going to do is going to change the flow of the defense. When they did go in motion that time, going from left to right, the safety comes down and they're running right into the heart of the defense, running right into where their strength is.
Still a 1-point game in Jacksonville. And word now from the Ravens locker room is that Bam Morris has gone in for x-rays after taking a blow to the rib cage. And there's another injured Raven here on the play. That's Larry Webster. So already they were short up front with Webster replacing Tony Saragusa. And now Webster is shaken up. While they tend to Larry, we'll take a break. It's a 3-point game.
Jumping Jupiter, what is this?
The new Sprint store at Radio
C is brought to you by Michelin X1, because so much is riding on your tires. By Speed Stick Gel, it's unbeatable gel protection, just for the guys. And by the Principal Financial Group, for over a century, your edge in retirement, insurance, and investment products.
Big crowd at Memorial Stadium, and the bus gassed up and ready to go. Already over 100 yards, Jerome Bettis, but a passing situation here with 4 wide receivers on 3rd down. Ravens have 6 defensive backs. Cordell Stewart, screen pass complete. Hawkins, nothing doing. Couldn't get back to the line of scrimmage thanks to Eugene Daniel. Is that a whale of a game? And the Steelers now have converted only 3 of 10 on 3rd down. Eugene Daniel, he thought his career was over. He was finishing a house down in Baton Rouge, but luckily he stayed in shape. And his old coach from Indianapolis, Ted Marchibroda, gave him the call. He came up, he worked out, he signed with the Ravens. Already has 3 interceptions since his return and is having one of the best games of his career today. Josh Miller boots it toward Jermaine Lewis. Fair catch made at the 11-yard line. Ravens will take over after a 44-yard punt. And coming up next, most of these NBC stations, game 2 of the doubleheader. Most of you see the Chargers battle the Raiders. Some will see the Oilers take on the Seahawks, or the Jets and the Colts. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And here at Memorial Stadium, the fans have been treated to a seesaw affair. 21-0 at one time, thanks to turnovers by the Ravens, converting the Steeler turnovers into points. And the Steelers have come right back, and they're within a field goal with 12:38 left.
And all of a sudden, this game is turned around, and you see more of the terrible towel show.
First down pass. Testaverde in traffic, caught at the 20 by Eric Green. He has a half-dozen receptions in the game, and that was one of the best, as he had 2 men all around him. Kirkland drags him down.
Well, Laverne Levon Kirkland is glued on Eric Green. Good coverage. He has him. He sees him coming across. He's got him covered pretty well, but Testaverde puts it where only Eric Green could catch it.
And remember we talked about that big butt? There was a perfect example. Kirkland couldn't get around it.
He's able to stick it out. That's about a good yard or so of cushion right there.
Ernest Biner, remember, Morris has gone to the locker room, and so Biner gets his first carry of the day, and he's short of the first down. He got only a half yard before Kirkland and Holmes collapsed him, and now he's hurt.
When you're coming up through the middle, expect when you see linebackers the size of a Levon Kirkland, and when it hits you head to head, that's gotta hurt. I don't know if you got maybe a little dazed right there, because helmet-to-helmet contact will make you feel that way.
Jay Graham has replaced Biner, the rookie from Tennessee. Third down. Testaverde, quick flip, caught by Lewis. Carnell Lake takes Lewis out of bounds, but give credit to Testaverde there. Felt the rush coming. A quick flip to an open Lewis.
And you see Vinny Testaverde is telling his outside receiver Jackson to come down inside, but Vinny reads the blitz. He throws it out there to Jermaine Lewis, and luckily he turned around and was able to catch that ball.
So the Ravens convert that third down. They have it 1st and 10 at their own 27-yard line. They lead 24-21 in the fourth quarter with 10:59 showing. First down pass, Testaverde fumbles the ball, and the Steelers have it. Kevin Henry recovers Testaverde's second fumble of the day. So Cordell Stewart turns it over 3 times by interceptions. Now Testaverde turns it over 3 times, 2 fumbles and 1 interception.
And you can't really worry about this when you're coming back in the pocket, but Vinny knows what happened to him before, and Greg Lloyd, now he knows that he has pressure coming, and I think he just loses control of the football. It looks like it almost slipped out of his hand.
Mike Vrabel, I think, dislodged it, and Cowher says, here's what we want. Now let's go for it. They trail by 3. They have it first down at the 22 of the Ravens. Bettis, tailback of the eye. Johnson in motion. The bus. Jerome Bettis made a cut back and is all the way to the 14-yard line, tripped up by Rondell Jones.
If he doesn't slip, he might have went the whole way to the end zone. You've seen a lot of that today. When he gets to the outside, he's all of a sudden breaking back against the grain, and that's where he feels the holes are. I mean, yeah, you can see him right here, and he breaks back. And if he doesn't slip there, I don't think a little defensive back would have been able to tackle him.
Yes, the bus is running on Sunday. He's run for over 100 yards. It's 2nd and 2. He got 8 on that last carry. 106 the total. Here he is again. Jerome Bettis to the outside. Can he get the corner? Yes. Stops short of the goal line. He'll be marked out at the 4-yard line.
Like I said, there's not a defensive back that's going to try to come up and tackle him up high. Usually they're going to go down at a big running back like Bettis' ankles, but Bettis shows some speed here. He comes up, he makes you think that he's going to be going up inside, and he bounces it out like he has done all day. One thing for a defensive back, you're not going to tackle him up high. You're going to have to cut him down at the ankles, because if you try to tackle him up there, all he's going to do is carry you into the end zone.
3 times inside the 22 touchdowns. A couple of weeks ago, we saw the Bills come back from a 26-0 game. Pittsburgh trying to erase a 21-point deficit. Stewart will throw for it in the end zone. Flags down. Buhner caught it for the touchdown. I think it'll be against Baltimore. The score should stand. Let's see. Yes, touchdown, Pittsburgh, and the Steelers have taken the lead.
And the key right there is Cordell Stewart has enough time. He takes some air off the ball here.
Last interference, number 54, defense. That penalty is declined as though the play touchdown.
And anytime, Tom, you have a defensive back or a linebacker covering a receiver, if you take something off it, what you do is the defensive back is not looking back, and if he runs into the receiver, it's pass interference. And good job by Bruner coming back from that football.
Norm Johnson's extra point is good. Bruner's 4th touchdown of the season. Cordell Stewart shakes off the early misfortune and has his team on top.
Brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now to enjoy a hot and delicious Domino's Pizza during the game. For hot and wow, call Domino's now.
Tom Hammond, Jim Kelly in Baltimore. Bam Morris is back, but for the first time today, his Ravens trail. It's 28-24 Pittsburgh. With all the Pittsburgh fans here, it looks like Three Rivers East at the moment, as Norm Johnson is set to kick and sends it on its way. Jermaine Lewis settles under it at the 7. Lewis behind the wedge, then ducks outside and is buried by the special teams of the Steelers. Well, when coaches are always fond of lecturing about turnovers, they could pull out this tape and it'd be a perfect illustration, wouldn't it? Pittsburgh turned it over 3 times, 21 Baltimore points. Baltimore returned the favor, 3 turnovers leading to 14 Pittsburgh points.
And that's exactly, you look at the turnover ratio, and the teams that are usually in the plus category are usually the teams that are winning a lot of football games, and you don't want to be able to do this, especially in the 4th quarter. This is where Vinny Testaverde has been hurt. The 2 losses turning the football over, and I'm sure he wants to be able to come back and get back into the groove and be able to pull the team out.
Testaverde sacked.
Testaverde sacked. Jason Gilden made the play.
Jason Gilden, 2nd sack of the season.
And Jason Gilden is a type of player when you're able to see him come right here across the side, coming down there. And when Vinny Testaverde, when you take a 3-step drop, I think right here, he might have thought that Bam Morris was supposed to go to the right side, the blocker. A little difference of philosophy right there. A 3-step drop, usually the pass is gone.
Hazlitt's defense, 3 sacks today. Here's Bam Morris, breaking tackles. Edges his way to the 24-yard line. Finally taken down by Joel Steed.
He's breaking tackles, but he doesn't look like he's at full speed. Right there wasn't the same Bam Morris that I saw in the first half. Looks like he's still running a little scared of maybe being hit right there. And if they're going to get back into this game, Bam Morris is going to have to play a big part of it.
3rd and 9 at the 23.
Now 3rd down and 9 for the Ravens. They've converted 9 of 15 on 3rd down. Jermaine Lewis can't get away. Throw it to the speedster Lewis, hoping he can make a play, but he was corralled early and taken down for a short gain. Carnell Lake was the man that did the most damage for the Steeler defense. And Testaverde and Lewis come up empty on 3rd down that time.
That's exactly looked like what happened. Vinny Testaverde dropping back in the pocket. Almost looked like that's what he wanted to do. Get the ball to Lewis, let him run with the football instead of maybe looking for a receiver deeper down the field.
Greg Montgomery. Blackwell backtracks from the 20-yard line. Using his blockers. Finally banged down hard. Good coverage. A 7-yard return of a 53-yard punt. Tyrus McLeod made the hit. It's 28-24. Back to Baltimore, Tom Hammond and Jim Kelly. We questioned after those 3 interceptions in the first half if Cordell Stewart had taken a step backward in his development as full-time quarterback. He has responded with an emphatic no in the second half. 7 of 8, 75 yards, 2 touchdown passes. And Jim, the most impressive thing for me is the way he was able to shake off those mistakes. I don't know if Testaverde can do the same or not, but Cordell certainly has.
Well, he showed his maturity. That's one thing. If you want to move up a notch as far as being one of your top quarterbacks, you have to be able to do that. And I know I stress it a lot when I talk about quarterbacks' maturity, being able to shake off the negatives, whether it's incompletions after incompletions. And then Cordell's right there with Cordell throwing 3 interceptions in the first part of the game, he's able to forget about those and come back with 2 touchdowns.
There was a hold on Dante Jones on the punt return, so the Steelers begin deep in their own territory from their own 11. Jerome Bettis pounds ahead for about 5 yards. Michael McCrary will get credit for the stop.
Well, Jerome Bettis, you see him carrying the football, and you're running up through that hole. The momentum that he has and the weight behind that for a linebacker after the game on Mondays, you got to have the bus all over your body because you know you're going to have bruises trying to tackle this guy.
You have tire marks on your back, huh?
That's for sure.
23 carries, 121 yards for the bus. Here he is again, hit in the backfield. Great defense that time. Rob Burnett able to shake off the blockers and hit Bettis around the ankles just at the moment he got the football.
And Jerome Bettis, he knows, talking to Tom and I yesterday, that he realizes all the pressure is going to be on him, especially if Cordell Stewart starts to struggle a little bit like he did in the first half. He knew that he was going to have to step up his game in order to take some of the heat off of Cordell. He's done that. He's been able to produce the yards. In the turnaround, you look at what's happened to Cordell Stewart in the second half.
Now with a key third down, 6 minutes, 15 seconds left. Stewart scrambles free of trouble. Winds up and heaves it downfield. Blackwell's open, but his own man Thigpen takes it away. Thigpen has it at the 24-yard line. A bizarre completion. Blackwell was all alone. Thigpen was covered, and Thigpen went over and made the catch.
What a play. All he did was throw that ball as far as he could throw it and hope that one of his receivers was going to come down with it.
62 yards to Thigpen.
You see Cordell Stewart, and this is one of the pluses to Cordell Stewart's athletic ability. Being able to get outside the pocket and throw the football. Right there, he just heaved it as far as he could throw it. And all Thigpen did is like throw it, just throw it down as far as you can, and I'll go up and get it.
Blackwell had his man beaten by 5 yards. I know his eyes were as big as saucers as that ball was coming in there. All of a sudden, Thigpen breaks in front of him and makes the catch.
That's called I guess really, if you really think about it, I don't think you saw the other receiver coming over, but it's like a Hail Mary pass. But usually when you throw a Hail Mary, there's 3 or 4 offensive players there. But there was really only one supposed to. All of a sudden, the other guy comes over, and a big play. This is what turns football games around.
And the Steelers have taken a timeout as Cordell Stewart comes to the sideline. Let's look at that play again that went for 62 yards.
Like
There's
I said,
Blackwell,
just a jump ball. That's all it is. It's a matter of what player wants the ball more. And I always tell receivers, run down the field. If I throw it, go up for it. If you catch it, hey, that's a 50, 60-yard completion. You'd rather have that. You got to keep running. Always running, always alert.
Now Stewart showed us his arm. How far do you throw that one in the air, Jim?
That was probably at least about 55, 60 yards, and I've seen Cordell throw it. He can throw a good 65, but I guess with shoulder pads on, it might take a few yards off your deep throw.
Miami leading Kansas City. And Green Bay looks like they'll hand the Bucs their first loss with 1:42. Jacksonville's increased its lead to 8 now over the Bengals deep in the 4th. Looks like the Jaguars stay atop the AFC Central. Stewart hands to Bettis. Jerome went the other way. Caught everybody napping. Out of bounds. 9-yard gain. Boy, for a big man, he can't accelerate, can he?
Boy, he can. And a little misdirection. I think what it's doing is it's stopping the linebackers thinking that he's going to be coming up through the middle, and all of a sudden, Bettis shows his speed to the outside. I mean, you look at a guy like that. Look at his body, just short, stocky, but he can run.
A fullback in his Notre Dame days, now as a tailback spot. 70 yards in the second half. He told us he'd been having trouble with that exercise-induced asthma. The change of seasons had been rough on him, he said, but no problems today. In fact, getting stronger as the game has worn on. Showed his strength there. as he fell forward for 2 more yards. Ray Lewis hanging on. He's to the 10.
And Jerome Bettis also told us that, you know, when he was a fullback, he used to have bruises on his bodies on Mondays, but it was because of blocking. Now he's got bruises on his body for carrying the football, and I'm sure you talk to any running back, they'd rather be getting the bruises when they're running the football instead of blocking.
Last 3 games. And today 132, so just 2 yards short of his Jacksonville performance in a game the Steelers looked to be on the verge of winning before Clyde Simmons blocked the field goal attempt. Play action fake. Cordell Stewart rolls the other way, tries to set his feet, got away from 1 man, a second, a third, got him down. That ball's loose, but it's going to be ruled down at the 32-yard line. James Jones chasing the elusive Stewart like a bunny rabbit. He kept just getting out of the way. Finally, though, it's a loss of 21 yards.
I think Cordell Stewart had a little bit too much confidence in his running ability right here. When you're a quarterback and you're that far back, throw the football away. He didn't have, I guess, enough momentum taking him towards the line of scrimmage, because if he does throw it away, he has to throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. Right there, he probably should have thrown it away a lot sooner.
2 sacks of Stewart today for a total of 30 yards in losses. You see the 2 sack, and then Cordell takes the timeout. So the Steelers use their second timeout of the half. They'll have 1 left. And the clock shows 3 minutes and 54 seconds.
Now, I could see if that was me right there and I did call a timeout and I went through what Cordell Stewart did right there, it would be because I wanted to come to the sideline and get some oxygen.
That might just be it. Then we'll shift our attention to baseball. Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific time. National League pennant chase, the Marlins and the Braves. First game of the League Championship Series, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Brown against Maddox, the Marlins, and the Braves. Well, this possession will count as the 4th trip for the Steelers inside the red zone today. And the 3 previous times they've been there, they have come away with points, or 2 of the 3.
And I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers right now would love to get back into field goal range to add that little more of a cushion. I mean, they're up by 4 points right now, but 3 would be big here. And by Cordell Stewart taking that sack right there, it pretty much put him close to being out of field goal range right now. What he has to have in his mind is maybe getting 5 or 10 more yards. Don't try to make up all of it at one time.
It's just second down, so he has a couple of shots at it. (28-24) at the 3:54 mark. Are you going to run Jerome here and play it safe and get it just closer into field goal range?
Yeah, might want to do that, or try to spread them out and have Cordell run a little quarterback draw.
Haven't seen a quarterback draw today.
No, and he's the type of quarterback that can do it. Tom, this almost reminds me of our game we did back here, Baltimore to opener, Jacksonville-Baltimore. Baltimore gets up big on Jacksonville. Jacksonville comes back and has a, back and forth lead going back between both teams, and all of a sudden Jacksonville pulls it out.
Losing leads, of course, is a sore spot for Raven fans. Last season, 10 of their last 11 games they lost after leading in the 3rd quarter. Stewart's pass complete. Thigpen. He's to the 17-yard line, wrapped up there by Antonio Langham. The dependable Thigpen has been right on the money today.
Stewart didn't hesitate one time there. He just hit his step. He saw his receiver and fired it in there, and almost like took Cornell Braun. I guess he looked around, was like, wow, how'd that ball get there so quick? And again, Stewart being able to fire it in there.
Thigpen, who went to the Pro Bowl after 85 receptions in the 95 season, has caught 7 today. On 3rd down, Stewart is 5 of 9. It's 3rd down and 17. For the end zone, caught. Johnson. Charles Johnson on the 17-yard strike from Cordell Stewart.
And boy, Cordell knows that that ball slipped out of his hand, and he's shaking his head. He knows that he is very, very lucky that wasn't intercepted. But hey, again, when a defensive back is not looking back for the football, you can do that. You're able to throw and take something off the ball. Maybe not quite as much as Stewart wanted there, but again, it's the outcome that counts.
And Bill Cowers is happy for Cordell Stewart, as is the player himself. Extra point by Norm Johnson is good. It's been an amazing comeback by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're up 35-24.
Let's take a look at Cordell Stewart's reaction after he throws his football and a touchdown. Wow, he knows that that ball slipped right out of his hands, but the outcome is what counts. He said, hey, whatever way I can get in the end zone, I'll take it.
Second touchdown catch of the day for Charles Johnson as Norm Johnson kicks it off. Taken by Jermaine Lewis. Lewis, the speedster, to the corner, cuts back. He's to the 45. Tight ropes down the sideline, be marked out of bounds at the 49-yard line, a 36-yard return. Now let's take a look at the Miller Time game summary. One time, the Ravens led 21-0, but Cordell Stewart shook off the 3 interceptions and has come back to pass for 246 yards and 3 touchdowns. Testaverde, 2 touchdowns and an interception today. 21 Baltimore points off turnovers, 14 for Pittsburgh. In the second half, the Steelers have outscored the Ravens 28-0. In fact, since Baltimore took that 21-0 lead, Pittsburgh has outscored them 35-3.
Not much time right now. Vinny knows he has to get this team in the end zone and get him in there quick, because with only probably 2 minutes and 48 seconds left, he needs to get 2 scores. Touchdown and field goal. So right here, he can settle for a field goal, but he knows he has to. If he gets a touchdown, he has to get the 2-point conversion.
Derek Alexander gets 12 on that pass. Advance the ball to the 39 of the Steelers. Clock shows 2:48. Jackson couldn't make a diving catch, though he broke open about 10 yards downfield. Testaverde's pass a bit wide.
You can tell he tried to slow down and come back to the football, and he lost his footing. But this is one where Vinny's going to have to start working the sidelines. He can't afford to complete too many passes down the middle and wind that clock down, because he has to realize he has to have 2 scores.
Tough loss for the Ravens in San Diego last week, and Testaverde saying that they were all exhausted with the heat and the long trip to San Diego and really been sluggish in practice. Ernest Miner even gave him a lecture on Wednesday. Miner dropped that one. Now they face third down.
I think they're pressing a little bit now. They're trying to come up with the plays, and they're not happening. Right here, Vinny should get these guys now and say, come on, guys, we only have a couple more chances. It's third down and 10. I think right now this is pretty much a two-down territory, out of field goal range. So try to get the ball, try to get the first down, which is what they're going to try to do. Get the ball out of bounds, stopping the clock.
As you saw, the Tampa Bay Bucks lose their first game of the season to the Green Bay Packers. Testaverde on third down. He's going deep down the sideline. A lot of contact and a flag. Michael Jackson and Donnell Wolford were battling hand-to-hand combat, and it will be Wolford called for interference.
Not a good place for this to happen, especially on third down and 10. You know they're going to have to go to fourth down. But what Donnell Wolford does, he puts his hand on, and right there, it seems like at the end of the play, he tries to give him a little shove. He tries to give him a little shove, thinking, well, if he catches the football, it might be a touchdown. So Donnell Wolford taking a chance of not being flagged, but, oh well, the official is right there on top of that one.
So now it's first and goal just inside the 10 for the Ravens. Testaverde with plenty of time. Now he runs out of the pocket and flips it for the touchdown. Alexander beat J.B. Brown. Derek Alexander, and now you see the 2. They will go for the 2-point conversion. Well, the Ravens wasted no time marching down the field thanks to the interference call. And then Testaverde with the touchdown pass.
This is very key. Testaverde getting outside the pocket and being able to find a guy wide open all by himself. Usually you're not going to be able to do that. Testaverde might have been able to run that one in by himself, but as we look at the two-point conversion right here, very important. They need to do this because if they don't get this, they have to come back, they have to score a touchdown.
Ernest Viner in motion. Testaverde retreats, flips it for Viner, and the conversion, two-point conversion is good. Viner went in motion from his setback spot, just out into the flat. Kirkland, the linebacker, couldn't cover him, and Testaverde got him.
I think Testaverde knew from the start. When he saw the outside guys coming in, he knew it was going to be a blitz. He knew it was going to be one-on-one. And pretty much all this is a pick. The two receivers, they're going to go upfield, try to make sure that Levon Kirkland will have to go over top to cover Viner coming out of the backfield. Testaverde, excellent read.
Testaverde has passed for 246 yards today, 3 touchdowns, had 1 picked off, and that two-point conversion makes it 35-32.
And I think if you look at Vinny's stats, they're very impressive. The only thing that's hurt them today was the fumbles, and I'm sure Vinny would like to have that back. And if you look on every NFL team, the leader with fumbles is usually the quarterback.
Now, 2 minutes, 27 seconds left. The Ravens have 3 timeouts remaining. Do you go with an onside kick or do you kick it deep?
Well, it depends what Ted Marchibroda is thinking right now. Does he have confidence in his defense to be able to stop the Pittsburgh Steelers? Then you kick it away. And right here, I'm not sure if I'd go for the onside kick. I think I'd kick it away. Have confidence in your defense.
Blackwell earlier returned 197 yards for a touchdown to open the second half. So the Steelers now trying to protect a 3-point lead. If they're able to hold on and win the game, it will match their biggest comeback ever. They were down to Buffalo 21-0 in 1985. Came back to win 30-24.
Ravens will probably kick it away here because they do have 3 timeouts left, and that's a big plus on their side.
They do kick it away. Blackwell from the 9. Will Blackwell is down at the 19-yard line. Tackled by Donnie Brady. Give him 10 yards on the return. Now the Baltimore defense must hold and get the ball back. They trail by 3.
We've been involved in a lot of exciting games. 2 weeks ago, the Bills come back. The first week here against Jacksonville came down to, I think, a 28-27 victory. And, boy, I'll tell you what, nothing but exciting football when you're in the booth with me, Tom.
Cordell Stewart, after the 3 first-half interceptions, has come back with 3 touchdown passes in the second half and has only missed 1 in this half.
Maybe I need to correct that, Tom, when I'm in the booth with you. Sorry about that.
Cordell Stewart, are we going to see a lot of the bus?
Yeah, you'll probably use the timeout.
Here he is, Bettis. Look at him scurry and dive to the 15-yard or 25-yard line. And timeout taken by Baltimore. So the Ravens use their first timeout. They have 2 remaining.
I'm sure they're going to go to Jerome Bettis on a few carries, but one thing that Cordell Stewart might want to do is tell his receiver not to split out so wide. This is what he used to do with Andre Reed and James Lofton. I would tell them, don't split out so wide. If the cornerback is going to give you the cushion, I'll throw a quick hitch out there because that's an easy 5 to 6 to 7 yard gain, and sometimes that's very profitable. Sometimes that's the difference between winning and losing.
Take us inside the Steeler huddle right now, and what Cordell is a young quarterback and maybe talking to his veterans, a little unsure of himself now. What's his demeanor? What's he saying to his teammates?
Number one, telling Jerome Bettis to hold on to the football and telling the offensive line no penalties. I remember sometimes the offensive line getting ticked off. Don't tell us that. Don't tell us that. But right now he has to remind the running back to hold on to the football, get as much yards as possible. And if you do have a outside run, stay in bounds. Make sure the Ravens have to use their timeouts.
Stewart is hit 18 of 28 on the day. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
You think you heard me, Tom, when I talked about throwing 3 interceptions against Cincinnati, come back with 5 touchdowns? He was trying to catch me there.
Well, he has done a great job of shaking off the misfortune and leading his team from 21 down to take a 3-point lead. Ravens have the 2 timeouts left.
Well, he has, and he showed his poise in the pocket. I mean, for a young quarterback who really hasn't started that many games in the NFL, to come in there and throw 3 interceptions and come back and be able to come back and throw 3 touchdowns just goes to show that Kordell Stewart wants to be a top quality quarterback in the NFL. And you talked about patience. That's what Bill Cowher had today.
Steelers have scored on 4 of their 6 possessions in the second half. Facing a second down here, the Ravens have the 2 timeouts left plus the 2-minute warning. 2:11 on the clock. Blitz comes. Bettis carrying for the 28th time today, and he's collared at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd and about 5 as we come down to the 2-minute warning. The bus will go over for a lube job and a gas up for the final 2 minutes. Clock shows an even 2, but the officials have not yet stopped for the 2-minute warning.
I saw the Ravens call for a timeout. I don't know whether they got it before the 2-minute warning or not.
The 2-minute warning wasn't up, and you know it.
One of the Ravens got on the ref's microphone. He said, "You know the 2-minute warning wasn't up, and you know it." Clock shows 2 minutes.
I saw the Raven signaling for a timeout with like 3 seconds, but again, you have to be in front of an official. Let him see you do it.
It is the 2-minute warning. 35-32. 2 Steelers. Vinny Testaverde hopes to get the ball back and have a chance to pull it out for the Baltimore Ravens. Meanwhile, Jerome Bettis, his second best career rushing day. His career best was in '92 against the Saints when he rushed for 212 yards. 1993 it was. And Bettis today with 80 yards in the second half and 137 for the day, averaging nearly 6 yards a carry in the second half.
And he knew the pressure was going to be on him the second half with the first half by Kordell Stewart.
3rd and 4.
Putting the pressure on himself.
Kordell Stewart has it, and he has a first down and more. Stewart after the fake, running for the end zone. It's a foot race, and Kordell Stewart will take it in for the score. And you can forgive him if he's winded.
I wasn't sure if he pulled a hamstring or he was just tired, but he just went to the end zone and fell right on his back. I don't know if this play was supposed to be designed that way, but heck, who cares? When you're number 10 and you can run like Kordell Stewart, why not?
He broke a tackle even, and now he starts to shorten stride a little bit, and you wonder. Nope, he is up on his feet as you see him cross the end zone and just collapse. A little gimpy as he gallops across. Wow. He has run for 2 scores and passed for 3 more. He has led his team from a 21-0 deficit with 35 second-half points.
Wow. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers fans can forgive him for those 3 interceptions in the first half. What do you think, Tom?
Bill Cowher has.
I'm sure his teammates have too.
Well, the coming out party for Kordell Stewart. He got a kiss from Bill Cowher. Kordell Stewart has arrived. December 22nd, 1996, Pittsburgh against Carolina. Kordell Stewart breaking away for an 80-yard touchdown run, the longest by a quarterback in NFL history. Finished the game with 102 rushing yards on 7 carries. First ever 100-yard game by a Steeler quarterback, though the Panthers won the game 18-14. Norm Johnson for the extra point. This game belongs to Kordell Stewart.
80 yards. I'm still amazed. 80 yards. I don't think I have that many yards in my history of in my career as a Buffalo Bill.
He's rushed for 78 today.
Wow.
He scored 2 touchdowns and passed for 3 more. And as impressive as those 5 touchdowns are, to me, the more impressive stat is that he overcame the 3 interceptions.
And I agree 100%. The poise that he showed, being able to come back here, and the confidence that his teammates had in him, that's what it's all about. And, of course, I'm sure Jerome Bettis had something to say and had something to do with that, too.
That's right. Jerome Bettis, part of the support cast. His second-best rushing day ever, 137 yards. Tony Siragusa being out of the lineup didn't help that inning. Ted Marchibroda has seen his team blow a 21-point lead. It's been another late collapse by the Ravens, a story all too familiar for this young Baltimore franchise. In the first half, the Steelers scored 1 touchdown in their 7 possessions. They had the 3 interceptions, remember. Second half, they've had the ball 7 times. 5 of the 7 times they have scored a touchdown.
Completely different ball club the second half. And you can contribute a lot of that to both Bettis and Cordell Stewart.
Here's Jermaine Lewis. He's got a seam. Lewis. Nice return again, but he needed one to go all the way back to give the Ravens a chance with a 1:40 left. Orpheus Roy chased him down.
Orpheus Roy driving by
42-32, so the Ravens trail by 10 with only 1:40 on the clock.
Hey, anything's possible. I mean, a Hail Mary pass, touchdown, a pass interference, get down there, an onside kick. As a quarterback, you have to think that way. You never feel that you're totally out of the football game. I mean, they have 2 timeouts left. They have 1:40. They have to strike, and they have to strike quick. He's got the weapons, Tom.
He does.
He's got more weapons than most teams have on their ball club.
And they did it a moment ago. You know, their last possession, they went 50-some yards in about 4 plays.
He has to get out of bounds.
Green does not get out of bounds. He's to the 45-yard line. Ravens have 2 timeouts left.
Vinny should be thinking right now, have a couple shots downfield. You got a tall receiver like Alexander Jackson. Why don't send one of those guys deep? Throw a Hail Mary pass down there. Cordell Stewart did, and it worked for him. Got to get out of bounds.
Michael Jackson works his way out of bounds. Well, one referee says out, one says roll the clock. Which will it be? Stop the clock at 1:09.
Gaining 7 on the first down.
First down, Baltimore. The ball's at the 38 of the Steelers. 2 timeouts left.
First and 10 at the 38.
When you look at the safeties right here, they're not real wide for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not as wide as probably they should be. Oh, here they go. They're starting to come out right now. But when you have one-on-one coverage, find that receiver, look for him, and try to get the ball into the end zone. Good job. You got to have a timeout, Vinny. You got to call a timeout.
Eric Green fumbled the ball. Green fumbled, and the Steelers have it. Myron Bell recovered Eric Green's fumble.
When they capitalized on turnovers in the first half, it was turned around and biting them right back in the second.
Myron Bell stripped the ball and then recovered it. Green had a touchdown against his old team earlier, but the Steelers get the final laugh on that one as they recover his fumble with 59 seconds left. 4 Baltimore turnovers, 3 by the Steelers. The game has hinged on turnovers and the play of Cordell Stewart.
You can see all the fans heading out. I'm sure they're heading to the Oriole game. What do you think, Tom?
I don't know, watch it on TV anyway, maybe, but it'll have a bitter taste even if the Orioles can pull it out after the Ravens blew a 21-point lead. The Steelers will equal the biggest comeback in franchise history. And they can look at Cordell Stewart as the man that turned it around. And Mike Tomczak is in there at quarterback now as Cordell continues to hold court on the Pittsburgh sidelines. 1985, they came back from a 21-0 deficit against the Bills to win the game, and here they will match that result. And I hate to be redundant, but again, the impressive thing is a young quarterback, Cordell Stewart, his first season as the full-time signal caller of the Steelers, faced 3 interceptions that led to 21 Baltimore points in the first half. A lot of quarterbacks would have gotten down, would have not been nearly as effective, not able to shake off those mistakes. Cordell Stewart, with the patience shown by his coach, Bill Cowher, who never yelled at him, never got in his face, encouraged him all along, and Cordell responded with a clutch effort in the second half.
And you look at Cordell Stewart, I mean, that's something that for a young quarterback you wouldn't be used to seeing. I mean, you can expect that from guys like a Dan Marino or John Elway, somebody that's been in that situation and it's had the experience, but Cordell Stewart hasn't had it. And to show the patience that Bill Cowher had, I wonder what he said to him in the locker room, if he said anything at all.
Well, he's a very poised young man, and his coach told us just yesterday this young man can be something very special at quarterback. I think he gave us a glimpse of that today.
Oh, he did. And if anybody talks about a quarterback should sit in the pocket and throw the football and don't take so many chances running it, Cordell Stewart has shown time in and time again that he can run with the football, and that's when the Pittsburgh Steelers are at their best.
Accounting for 326 yards and 5 touchdowns today.
I'll tell you what, he got NFL Player of the Week last week. He's making a good case for it again this week.
Yeah, it'd be hard to top this. He was asking you about that yesterday, what that means, and you said what it means, young man, is that you might wind up NFL Player of the Year.
It definitely helps. It definitely helps. And he said, what do you have to do? I said, you got to win it a couple of times if you want to end up at the end as the NFL MVP.
Well, a long way to go before that would happen, of course, but certainly the young man has shown steady progress, and today the most impressive performance of his career as the Steelers' full-time quarterback. Ravens have used their final timeout. In fact, Stewart, for the day, we saw that graphic.
Jermaine Lewis is deep.
His yards are almost as many as the Ravens have as a team.
Well, he earned his paycheck today, that's for sure.
They'll take the intentional safety as Josh Miller goes out of the end zone. There's a flag down. Don't forget to stay tuned for the second game of the doubleheader on most of these stations. Ted Marchibroda very upset at one point in the game against San Diego last week, and this is not going to do anything for his blood pressure today either.
Oh, that's for sure. And Ted's a very emotional person. He doesn't say too many times lose his temper, but when he does, you know exactly where he's at, and there's no doubt that his blood pressure is rising today.
The Ravens blow a 21-point lead.
Illegal formation, 6-man line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a safety.
So they decline the penalty. The safety stands, and a free kick for the Steelers now with 11 seconds left. And the score is 42-34.
I don't think they wanted to kick to Jermaine Lewis with a punting team out there. Wasn't really ready to get down.
Jim, what about this strategy? You know, now they take the intentional safety. Yes, only 11 seconds are left, but Jermaine Lewis is capable. Score a touchdown, 2-point conversion good, and you tied the game.
Exactly, and especially if he gets enough yardage to get him in a Hail Mary position where Vinny Testaverde can throw the ball. He can throw it at least 75 yards, so
why wouldn't the Steelers just punt it away without taking the safety?
Well, they could have done that. They could have punted it away, and then they would have had to worry about two possessions. That's what I probably would have done, is go ahead, punt it, and then they have to score twice. But again, I think he was worried about Jermaine Lewis being able to run the ball back for a touchdown.
Well, the margin is 8, and he still has to kick to Lewis. The margin is 8, so a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, and we got a tie game. I don't know about the strategy here by the Steelers.
Josh Miller with a free kick.
I'm sure that's going to be talked about a lot. As we talk about it up here, you look at the situation as the amount of points in between it would have been 42-32 with 10-point differential, and all of a sudden we're looking at an 8-point ball game. And you talked earlier about Jermaine Lewis, what he can do with the football. And again, I'm sure Bill Cowher's thinking in the back of his mind, should have we done that?
Well, we'll see how it plays out with 11 seconds left. Josh Miller will punt it on the free kick. Lewis and Rowe, the deep men for the Ravens. This will be Rowe. Ducks out of bounds at about midfield.
With the return.
So with 8 seconds, the Ravens will go for the Hail Mary. 20-yard return by Rowe. And as you said, Testaverde has a strong enough arm to reach the end zone from here.
He definitely has one of the strongest arms in the National Football League as far as throwing the deep pass. We have the quarterback challenge each and every year, and Vinny can throw it out there with the Brett Favres and guys like Troy Aikman. He can throw it down there probably 70, 75 yards. The key to this is Vinny having enough time to let his receivers get down close enough to the end zone so he can throw it.
He winds up and he throws it. It's going to be short of the end zone. And it's intercepted by the Steelers. And that'll be the last play of the game as Wolford intercepts the Hail Mary by Vinny Testaverde. Visits with Bill Cowher. And so Bill Cowher, Cordell Stewart, Jerome Bettis, and the Steelers fight back from a 21-point deficit to win the game 42-34. Now stay with us for Game 2 of our NFL on NBC doubleheader. Most of you will see San Diego versus Oakland or regional action. For Jim Kelly, this is Tom Hammond saying so long from Baltimore. This game and the victory for the Steelers belongs to that young man, the brilliant Cordell Stewart. This has been a presentation of the NFL on NBC, the network of the Super Bowl.
What happened in this game?
The chin of Bill Cowher. Happened to the Baltimore Ravens, one of the most entertaining teams last year, but no lead was safe for them. And although today, and this year, it looked like Ted Marchibroda's club was a different ball club. They were protecting leads. They had a big lead on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Baltimore at halftime. But that's why they play the whole game. Here we go. Bill Cowher. Boy, what a big day of sports in Baltimore. Ravens home. Orioles end up closing out the Mariners. Vinny Testaverde to Eric Green. And the large one, with the lead against his former team over Donnell Wolford. They get away from me. Get away from me. It's 23 yards, 7-0 Baltimore. Next possession. This was not Cordell's first half. Picked off by Stevan Moore. Moore will lug at 27 yards, and he could go almost all the way out of bounds at the 6. Leads to a Bam Morris bagging a touchdown, 14-0 Baltimore. Next Steeler possession for the second time in the first half, picked off by Eugene Daniel, my brother. You are older than me. On a misplay, you are better than me. He stretched it to the 43-yard line, leads to another Ravens touchdown, 21-0 Baltimore. 3 picks against Cordell. The coach said just stay with it. 24-7 at the half. Opening kickoff second half, a recurring theme. A fake reverse. Will Blackwell keeps it himself, makes a move, and I don't think Stover is going to catch him. He could go. Oh, no, wait. 97 yards, 24-14. Ravens lead is now 10. Later in the third, Stewart, he fakes a reverse. Fakes the cameraman. Fakes the Ravens. Yancey Thigpen down to the 30. 2 plays later, occasionally have to do this. Tom, give it to the boss.
Yeah, Jerome Bettis, a great clock killer. He's going to get you the power yards once you start getting into the football game.
They still left him in there, even though they're trying to come back. And Stewart to Charles Johnson. It's 24-21. Fourth quarter, Vinny has fumbled deep. And Stewart to Mark Bruner, and quote the Raven lead, nevermore. Touchdown, 28-24 Pittsburgh. Now 35-24. 2.5 to go. But Vinny can do this. Vinny can throw. Derek Alexander, touchdown. They make a 2-point conversion. 35-32 Pittsburgh. Having the kickoff on 3rd and 4. A fake reverse. Cordell's going to keep it himself. He could go all the way. Cordell Stewart, 74 yards. I know he looks lame, but after the run, he was okay. He didn't pull anything, except he pulled out a win from deep, deep trouble as the Steelers beat the Ravens in a wild one, aren't they all, with the Ravens, 42-34. Frankly, Pittsburgh on the ropes in this thing for a long time, but now they up their mark to 3-2. So Kordell Stewart, with 3 picks in the first half, but throws 3 touchdown passes, runs for 2. Bettis at 137 yards, Tommy, and even though they were behind, he was a key.
Yeah, and credit Bill Cowher for understanding that running game, sticking with it, giving him his carries even though they were behind, with the prospect of getting back in the game, and also sticking with Kordell Stewart and not allowing this kid to get down on himself by halftime.
3 touchdown passes, 2 rushing touchdowns for a quarterback, at least this much. Kordell, only the 7th time that's happened in the NFL since the merger in 1970. Steve Young, the last to do it 4 years ago. When we return, we're just revving up. Bengals and the...
Kordell Stewart having one of those basically nightmare first halves a quarterback will have. Eugene Daniel was picked up by the Ravens to do just this, pick off passes, and he does. This one in the first quarter. Meanwhile, Kordell's troubles continue. In the second quarter, throwing to the sidelines, picked again. Eugene Daniel on the spot. 3 Raven touchdowns in the interceptions in the first half result in touchdowns. The Ravens eventually went up 21-0. But starting in the second half now, the Steelers' Will Blackwell receiving the second half kickoff. Looks like a reverse. No, he's going to keep it. Blackwell just turns it up now and just sprinting through Ravens, who obviously bit on that. Matt Stover is absolutely no help. He goes for the touchdown, 97 yards. And the Ravens' lead is 24-14. And look at an old special teams coach, Bill Cowher, get out on the field. He's trying to fire the people up. Third quarter, later, Kordell Stewart faking the reverse. And he had told Yancey and them he was going to throw it to them. Yancey, 36-yard pickup right there. Same drive. Kordell Stewart now finding Charles Johnson, and that is a touchdown. The Raven lead, 24-21. Now, the Steelers have the lead, and the Ravens close it to 35-32, but then Kordell on a set play just takes off. And watch him go. See you when I see you. 74 yards for the touchdown. They had a slight quadricep pull on that play, but a lot of exhaustion on that play as well. Kordell Stewart, tremendous rebound effort. Ditto the Steelers, 42-34. They tie for their best comeback in history in this game. Kordell bounced back from 3 first-half INTs to run for 2 touchdowns, pass for 3 more. In short, an outstanding day for him. The Fantasy Fast, the bus, getting loose for 137. Yancey, 152 through the air. And as for Baltimore, Vinny Testaverde, 290 for 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs. I want to tell you this, you'll see the Pittsburgh Steelers next week on TNT as they host the Indianapolis Colts.
Stewart's game was a microcosm, really, of his season. A terrible start and explosive finish. After 3 interceptions in the first half, Stewart threw 3 touchdowns and ran for a touchdown in the second half. That was his second rushing touchdown of the day in Pittsburgh's 42-34 win at Baltimore. Look at the little stock index, if you will, of Kordell Stewart. His performance has been climbing since week 1 in completion percentage and yards per attempt. His last 3 games, he's been 45 of 68 throwing the football. Jaws, even though you were undercover with those sunglasses on NFL Countdown yesterday, we know you were there in Baltimore. And you said you're more impressed after seeing Stewart firsthand?
Yeah, Michael, first of all, I uncovered a great quarterback in the making. You know, when I saw Kordell Stewart Saturday night over at the hotel and spent some time with him, I can't tell you how impressed I was with the young man. He understood what was going to happen in the maturation process of becoming an NFL quarterback, that there are going to be good days and bad days. I don't think he understood that good day and bad day might be the same day. He threw 3 interceptions to start out the game. He was having a horrible day. In fact, after the game, I asked Bill Cowher, did you ever think of taking him out of the game? And Bill said emphatically, never. There's a special bond there between Bill and Kordell Stewart, that this is his quarterback, the guy that he is going to ride with. Here you see him. I mean, this is a beautiful thing right there. You see him pushing, then you see him hugging. These are guys that are on the same page. And, you know, I had a chance to talk to Jerome Bettis after the game, and Jerome said, even after he had thrown 3 interceptions, Kordell was on the sideline kind of smiling. Yeah, he was concerned, but he wasn't in the corner pouting like you see a lot of guys do. This is a guy that really trusts his ability, and he has a great belief in himself, Joe. He's a guy that I think somewhere down the road could be one of the great ones in this game.
Ronnie, it is great to see a young man like this come along. And what's even more impressive is you have to remember, this is a guy who really is just a rookie. He didn't play the quarterback position for 2 years there. He finally is in it. Also, I'm very impressed with his ability to stay disciplined in the pocket as a drop-back passer. You would think it would be very easy for Kordell Stewart to jump out of the pocket and take off when he wants. For example, he gets some pressure. Here comes a reverse. It's supposed to be a pass, but heck, there's nobody there. I'm going to use my athletic ability. No one can catch me. That's the attitude that he has on a football field. His innate ability to be able to make plays with his legs is secondary to the fact that he can make plays with his arms. We always believed that he had the ability to play the game. The question was, did he have the ability to be able to be disciplined enough to stay in the pocket, stay where he's supposed to be, and make those plays? I was in a very similar situation when I was a rookie. It was hard for me to stay disciplined. I'm very impressed what he's doing.
You can remember back that far.
That far.
Pretty good. You know, I talked to Chan Gailey, the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had to get that in on Joe. And Chan Gailey talked about the fact that told Kordell stay confident in what we're doing in our game plan, and the fact that that defense did some very special things. Give them credit. They slumped off some receivers and made some plays. He allowed Kordell and talked to Kordell about, look, if it doesn't feel good to you, do what does feel good. And that's why you see the long runs. That's why you see him throwing the football in the second half or in the second quarter on with confidence. Not to mention, we talked about playing together offense and defense. Pittsburgh Steelers defense, 2 interceptions, 4 sacks. I mean, they got after the quarterback. They picked it up as soon as Kordell Stewart got it going.
It's a big month to get it all together. They've got a couple of division games, and they play Jacksonville at month's end. Joe.
Captain comeback season. One play away from the Super Bowl. The Hail Mary to Aaron Bailey. Batted out of his hands.